What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is, of course, the House of Chayton here. Alongside me is my guest, J Man's Legit. We,
Hello.
no glitz and glamour. This is more of a serious video, if you will. And also, fair warning to everybody. I will be putting the link out there probably around the 30-minute mark because I do not plan on going live for that long, at most an hour, but we'll see where it goes. But if I can get it done within the hour, that'll be great.
Yeah.
But also, I will say this to everybody in the chat. I will refrain from comment or reading too many comments in the chat. I'll try to say what's up. But again, just know ahead of time that the people that are watching and supporting, I appreciate it. So with that being said, so earlier today, there was a video that Zexio made regarding me. And prior to this, I had no issue with Zexio. Still don't, to be honest with you. I will be transparent with y'all. I did try to copyright claim the video. But I think due to country asterisks, country like issues, couldn't happen. I'm going to be transparent with that because of the fact that, there were some things regarding the disclaimer that kind of violated what was said, but it is what it is. Again, like to be fully transparent with you people and not hide about things. But there was a lot said regarding stuff from 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I'm going to break my rule. When have I not broken rules, people? But I'm going to break this rule for context purposes regarding a lot of people. It all revolves around the incident with one Kevin Daddy. And I talked about this earlier, and I privated it because I felt like it would be better for me to have more time to process things, have more time to think, have more time to get my words across a little bit better. And so I stand by what I said regarding to Sloppy about getting unfortunately having it on his thing, and I send my apologies to him about that. But regarding that there was the incident regarding the daughter. Now, and it went from the me and Kevin issue to being a recap of 2021, which, let's be honest here, a lot of us that lived through that period are sick and tired of it. And but you know what? For one time and one time only, this is going to be the last time I ever discuss anything regarding my daughter and my situation about this ever again. If you ask me going forward, I'm going to kindly tell you to go fuck yourself. That is not me being a dick. That is just me being me regarding my kid. And then we'll wrap around to the current events. And Jordy will chime in because, again, he was a part of this period through that timeline. So,
yes, I
was.
Go back. And it's a timeline that I prefer not to go back into. But then again, there are times where you've got to, add, the context of what happened by having to explain certain events that, shouldn't have happened but already did.
Yes. So,
and if anybody listens to me, I apologize. I'm still going through allergies. I'm going to be taking some Benadryl soon. After that, I'm going to take a long, good night's sleep because I haven't had a good night's sleep in the past few days since these allergies started. So bear with me.
Now, regarding the whole situation, let's actually go back a little further. Let's go back to, of course, one of the topics that were brought up was the animal stuff, right? And, I've told a story about the animal cruelty stuff regarding all that. My fiance knows. My good, like everybody knows, not just on YouTube, but personally. Regarding that, of course, there was a flood in my mother's home. She was owners of said animals, and she was in a rehabilitation place for an injury she sustained. Not rehab, not like the rehabilitation for like drugs, right? It is for an injury she sustained. So yeah. I was tasked with making sure they were fed and all that stuff. And unfortunately, one day, I don't know if it was me or my ex who came in and left the door unlocked. Someone across the street called a welfare check. There was a giant flood in the home prior, and where I was living at with my ex-wife couldn't keep the dogs or cats that we had because she had a good amount of them in her home. And, that was, something we were she was in the process of selling. I was helping her with that and all that good stuff, selling the house because the damages to the house were too much for her or I to afford at the time. Because I also had a newborn baby, was just a few years old and all that stuff. So kind of just everything was all over the place at the time. Anywho, so at that time, someone came in, did the a neighbor called for a welfare check because my mom wasn't there. She was, again, in the rehabilitation, and we weren't really close with the neighbors, so it's not like we told them everything that was going on. And so after that, we, the police came, checked, and they saw the house in the shape it was in. So they called me, and they did all this stuff, and little did I know at the time that when I was signing some papers, they didn't really properly explain it to me about that I was held responsible for the situation. And then after that, and thinking of it because the only thing I was ever charged with, I was actually guilty of, was freaking got into a fight when I was 17. I fully admit I was guilty of that. I got into a fight. I was young and stupid. What can you do? But regarding that, I was later, about 8 months passed by, and I was they had a warrant. I didn't even know what it was for because it didn't really say. So I went to go, and this was in 2017, the fall of 2017, mind you. And so I was, I went to the office, all this other stuff, was arrested. Also, they finally told me what it was for. And my mother tried everything to put the charge on herself, not because she was trying to protect me or saying that I was this horrible human being or that I abused animals and this, that, and the third. Wasn't that, was just because she, it was her issue that, and all that stuff. My mom would even tell you that herself. So anyway, so after that,
I'm gonna mute my mic because I don't want to feel like whenever I'm trying to, inhale.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
It's, but anyway, keep talking.
So after that, I had the deferred adjudication. I had a court appointer, which is something I never did again. Anytime I was later on with my ex-wife, she tried to say I harassed her and all that stuff. I got an actual attorney and got all that stuff dropped regarding that. But yeah, I never laid a hand, abused, neglected animals in any way, shape, or form. And it was something that, not that's the only thing I really don't care about not that I don't care about, but that I care about being on the record. One day I do plan on getting that expunged off of the record, because, it's something that I don't really like to talk about because as someone who loves animals, I've got 2 of my own, and that's just how it is regarding that. Yeah, Mason. Anyway, so regarding that, so then we get into the ex-wife stuff, right? And there was a claim by Zexio where he says that where he reading off the testimony and medical records, which again, I'm sure that's not an issue in his country, but if it was really worth something, I could sue people for freaking violating HIPAA laws. But you know what is what is. People want to do that. I'm not just saying Zexio, I'm saying anybody to be scum. Because again, some of these people who, and I'll get to the hypocrisy of that in a little bit, people who were appalled by someone showing medical records, but then they show it themselves. Very hypocritical, if I may add. But anyway, they tried to say that I beat my ex-wife. And there was many things that were said regarding her and all that. And I would honestly, and again, I could like, the assault charge was from 2012, if I remember correctly. I didn't meet her till 2014. And I guarantee you will never, you don't, if you look at my record right now, you're not going to find a assault thing on there. So that's first. Child neglect. When that gets into 2020, into 2020, 2021 territory, which brings us to like Jordan. But child neglect. If anybody neglected my
do
daughter,
I go next?
I'll get. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm about to. I'm building it up to that. If anybody is,
Okay, I don't know what happened. Something
are you
must
there?
have screwed up on my end.
Can you hear me, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. So regarding all that.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think there's a delay.
I think there must be like there must be something going on.
You want to
Like
reset yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh my page.
Okay. All right. So anyway, apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so child neglect, right? The one person that was there that was in every court proceeding for the longest time, the one person that was there, the one person that saw her, even when she was in CBS custody due to who was it? Due to my ex, because she was in her care at the time, but yet she was in custody, in CBS custody, mind you.
All right.
So
Test.
I can hear you. So
okay.
And we'll get to the ex in a little bit more in detail, but I saw her every week. I spent the most time with. I was more of a parent to that kid than fucking, excuse me, my ex-wife was. And that killed her because of the fact that that's why she tried to do everything she could to keep me away from her, which in the end she succeeded. But we'll get into that more in detail a little bit later. So brings me to 2021. It was getting more and more likely that I was going to get custody of her one way or the other, because it was either going to be, maybe my mom would have to be there just as a kind of an aiding hand, which honestly, she was more of a mother to my daughter than her own mother was, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But anyway, so at that point, she ran out of options to try to use against me. She tried doing harassment, that got dropped. She tried to say I threatened to kill her. That didn't go nowhere. She tried to say I beat her up at a freaking bus stop near a courthouse. I don't know if I know Jordan may not notice, and this is not an insult to anybody who lives in a small town, but the courthouse, like if I beat her up in a court in front of at a bus stop in front of the courthouse, and I know where the courthouse is, I know where the bus stop is because I get off of that bus every day or every few days or whatnot. So it's a very public area. I would be in jail for that type of shit. So it's just comical that people still try to use those things and all that. But so all that, it went into all that. She had custody of her for a little bit. And I had seen her since 2020, October of 2020, because again, and actually Jordan was one of the last people to see her because we were all in a stream together. Now the stream wasn't.
We did a. Let me explain this part.
Yeah,
we were doing like a Halloween stream with Tom. If you don't know him, he's known as Cypress, whatever you want to call him now. He did this little thing where it was supposed to be me and Chayton, having fun, competing against each other, and ironically enough, Chayton's daughter, at the time, was there, and this was before the whole thing came out about that whole lie, because the lie hadn't even been formed yet. But I will point out that she didn't seem scared or traumatized to me.
Yeah,
I just,
that was the last
I
time
just, I mean, and here's the thing. I know some people may say that I'm doing this to cover, Chayton's ass. No, I mean, I saw the child with my own eyes, and she did not seem to be traumatized, scared, or whatever. She seemed happy to me.
And so yeah, so that was the last time I saw her physically. In 2021, around springtime, it got to the point where it was a likely possibility she was going to lose her and I was going to get her. And she couldn't have that. So she went down the dirtiest rabbit hole that you could do, which actually is not the first time she tried it. She tried this 2 years prior in 2018. So it's not something brand spanking new, but she was desperate. She tried to get cops involved, all this other stuff. So so she tried to say that I molested her. And like my mom was with me. There was plenty of witnesses. And again, last time I was with her, Jordan and Tom. Now I will be frank, even though that video is no longer available, she was not in the stream. People couldn't see her, but we could see her backstage. Like
It was off air.
Yeah. So anyway, so so after that, I went into a very psychological and depressive state. And I even attempted to unalive myself. Um, and it was a dark place I was in that I hope I'm never in that same position again. Do I get depressed from time to time regarding certain things? Yes. And I'm a very rational person, or I'm not very rational. I'm a very reckless person at times. And I decided to do
At
something that
times.
a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah, you better fix that right now.
But like I can be very reckless, so I unfortunately made the decision to come out to certain people behind the scenes and lie about my saying that my ex and my daughter got into a car accident, she passed away. Something I'm not proud of, something that I like still bothers me to this day in regards to that.
It kind of
And
bothers me too, because I was one of the people there when you
yeah,
told me that
Jordan
story.
and a few others in the call, was something that, I my father was a very prideful man. While I don't have like the same love for my father as I did when I was younger, he was a very prideful man. And that was one of the things that I kind of got from him, which was pride. Sometimes my biggest weakness regarding all that. And so, and he used to always say that it is, you're not a man if you have to ask for help. So, you know, I decide instead of asking for help to just fucking lie, and to do that, which is not the right thing to do and not to use in that scenario. And 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 I'll let Jordan go into this part of the explain, because then he could say what happened afterwards.
Right. So this is the part where, things go from, like from bad to worse in regards to him. Okay. So as soon as, everything else happened, regarding the daughter thing, a majority of us kind of fell for the, story, well, except for one person. And I don't want to bring that person up out of respect, because again, I don't think he wants to be brought up in all this. But if he wants to come
Yeah,
in here, he's more than welcome to, once you put the thing in the live chat. But
yeah,
regardless, um, I felt sorry, and felt sad. But this was during a time when we were all, when I thought like I wasn't, trying to do well with the Rant and Rave podcast, because there was a thing that Chayton and Tom did, called the Thursday Night Wars. It was basically like a, thing based off the Monday Night Wars, where we were competing R&R versus the Outcast, and I did not like it one bit. But hey, it just, it's whatever. I mean, now, I'm not going to go into detail about the whole who won and who lost type deal, because the thing is, it's not worth bringing up, and it's not worth joking about, because it's a time in my life that I like to move on from, but I do like the jokes and references from time to time.
yeah.
Hold on a second.
And also, and the problem was regarding that was that Jordan and I could be very competitive, but unfortunately at the time, I think both of our mental states at the moment were not in the best sense. Jordan for a completely different reason, mine
it was
for
not. It was more like, and it also comes down to ego as well. I mean,
yeah.
There were times where you could, like you say that you beat us in viewership, but then there are also times where you could also say that, that we should do this, do that. Problem is, I don't think there was anything wrong with that with the podcast. Like, if you try to change one thing, you're going to have to change everything about a show. And I felt like, and we never once made critiques about the Outcast. The only thing I said about the original Outcast, it was more like an open forum than it was a podcast or a show. But that was just my opinion, at the time, and it still is.
To be honest, that's really that really is more of a fact, because like shows like Rant and Rave or Bofas are more so like a
professional.
Not only professional, but they're more in a podcasting form. Ours is more like just you don't know what's going to happen. I can still make podcasts of it because there's a lot more. There's not as much physical humor as there is audio, visual, or like audio humor compared to the old days. It's kind of a mixture, but yeah. Anyway, continue.
So after all that happened, basically, something happened, somewhere around June of 4 years ago, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. There was a fallout. I said something. I had an opinion of something, and yet here's the thing: it was my opinion, but yet I may have said some things that I shouldn't have, but I didn't say anything that was degrading or or offensive or anything like that. But I will point out that the guy right here, I'm not gonna lie, he did, stab me in the back, sold me out, sold me up the river when it comes to the other party. And again, I, was crucified. I was like gang attacked, like not physically, but but verbally and technically in a like on a panel like this.
Yeah. So yeah, and like
and
and
after
also
that,
we had a lot of disagreement. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
After that, I pretty much blocked Chayton on everything because again, he stabbed me in the back. I mean, this is no secret. I mean, yes, he has done that in the past, but the problem is, at least he's made up for it. As regards to our friendship is concerned, which took time to heal. But yeah, you go ahead. I need a cough a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, and that was the other problem. It was a matter of my mental state. And I'm not trying to use disability or anything like this. It's more psychological. Like to all the dads out there, and I will say to use XCO, because I heard you say you are a dad, and just sloppy. Again, no hate towards you, sloppy. But I hope and pray that the stuff I had to go through regarding my kid never you all never go through that, because you like people can sit here and criticize and make fun of or do whatever, but until you've been in that position, because you could tell me, oh yeah, I wouldn't do that. Let me know when your mental state is in that way where you just don't know what to do. I didn't tell everybody that I was going to off myself. I didn't say the only reason why I didn't do anything primarily was I was taking care of my mom at the time, and I didn't want her to find me. I didn't want her, to go through any trauma just out of being selfish.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the main reason. I wasn't even enjoying life. I'm a movie guy. I'm a gamer. I love to talk about movies. I was in autopilot for a good month near the end of the Outcast. I was not enjoying movies. I was not enjoying games. I quit my job. Luckily, I had money from the pandemic stuff that I saved up to keep me afloat for a little bit. but and I soldiered through shit through work. Even the aftermath of everything, I soldiered on once I kind of got I guess my feeling back.
But
So
let me go ahead of this part. So after the backstabbing and after the gang attack, I was in that same position too. Like I felt like I wanted to die. And I'm not trying to use depression or anything else as an excuse, or because again, depression, it's a real thing. I suffered through depression since 2020. Like I've lost like 3 family members, one in 2015, the other 2019, and then the final one you all know, 2020, was my brother. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And yeah, a lot of people may know the story of about it, and to this day I still miss him. And is it a factor to my depression? Yes, I cannot deny that, because if it wasn't a factor to my depression, then I don't know what else it could be. But either way, so yeah, after all that, Chayton, he made his, accusations towards me before the stuff with the daughter, came out regarding her still being alive. I mean, when he was having others, do all that and pretty much, ruin my name and all that, I was like, I felt like I just wanted to die, because these people are going to be talking about me forever, which is obviously the case, because it's over obsessive, where you have a group of people that are good at nothing but trash talking. But either way, eventually, for some reason, thanks to the help of others who I'm not going to bring up out of respect, some of you may know who they are, but not going to give like, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, because again, it's already been said and done. It turned out Chayton's daughter was never dead, and somebody else also looked at a similar story of what Chayton told, and then basically Chayton was given the opportunity to either tell the truth on a certain panel that I was uh, sacrificed on, or run, and he chose to run, and he didn't say anything for a month until July 4th, 2021.
And something else I will say this, and I've talked to that person. I'll just say the name Dan. When he came in and expressed it, I did tell Dan even privately that I didn't know about the article. It was not something I articulated like in like this grandiose thing. It was just something that just like that was just happenstance that the article was very similar. Um,
I mean, whatever
yeah, and
happens,
this is not me.
happens.
This is not me trying to justify it or like
Oh no. I mean, I don't like.
I'm
Here's the thing.
just
I'm not even gonna. I don't even justify what you did.
yeah,
Because again, it was like when I found out. Now this is my side of things. When I found out about your daughter still being alive this whole time, and that you lied to me in my face, I was no longer mad about you backstabbing me. I was more mad and more sad that you would lie to me about your own kid being dead. I mean, I mean, like in my head, what kind of a fucking father does that? You know?
yeah,
And I know you've already been said that about a lot, and I'm not one to criticize or judge, but it's all I can tell you is this: I did not appreciate being lied to, but
yeah,
I will point out that you explaining your reasoning, I could understand it. But I do know is that, like you said earlier, you're too prideful to ask for help or go to
yeah,
someone to explain everything. I would have been open to understanding you and all that. I mean, I would have been a better person than I am right now than I was 4 years ago, because I was still on that bandwagon where I wanted to crucify you.
yeah,
And
and that's the thing, and that brings up well, like yeah. So I was away for a while. People made their videos. It was whatever. But I found most of it irritating because I was sitting there because they had my ex-wife on and all that. They interviewed her and all that, and I didn't
now
have
here's the
anything.
thing: I didn't interview her. That was
No, you
another guy.
didn't. Yeah. So I
Because if
was
I
there.
did the interview, it would have been funny.
Yeah, I was sitting there, and I was just sitting there waiting for things to blow up because I knew that was eventually going to happen. And so it was in the July of 2020 that or 2021 that I came back,
Yeah,
and
July 4th.
and at the time, instead of me going after, or instead of me maybe because I still didn't have anything to prove anything at the time. I wasn't someone who kept receipts or kept screenshots or anything like that. Like I said, even with the stuff that happened a few months ago, I'm more prepared now for those types of situations than I was back
Right.
then. But I won't get into that because of an agreement. But my point is that so I, instead of trying to maybe give a side, I decided to go in attack mode on people. Some people, I
Yeah.
will honestly admit, deserve the attack. Others, like yourself, Jordan, did not. And it was just
You were
pent up
just
rage.
simply you were just simply full on rage mode, and you just felt like you wanted to go through anybody that was dumb enough to even get in the way or be the enemy. And part of me feels like I can understand that,
Yeah,
But
but I will say there was no excuse, like for the stuff I said about your
in fact,
brother.
here's another thing. Everything we're speaking about right now regarding what's going to lead up right now is not, any excuse for what has
Yeah,
happened in the last 24 hours.
yeah. So I went at Jordan. Um,
Oh,
Jordan never.
you went at me, you went at my mother, you went at,
Yeah,
oh my God, you went at almost anybody that was like, that was,
related to you felt like.
whether it was related to me or, whether it's biologically or someone who is close to me or friends or whatever. And you just went with it. And like I said, I mean,
And
it
there
was
was a
like a
few
full on
people.
rage mode.
And there was a few people I didn't go after. Like my ideology, whether it's right or wrong, which most likely it's wrong in this scenario. My ideology, I went after people that were consistently, I felt like, were attacking. Again, methods were not right in regards to how I did it, but the point is that I went after people like Jordan. I didn't go after people like Dragon or Dan or Paige or
Well, funny enough, Dan was like, and again, I actually agree with everything that Dan said towards you. Like, I know you
yeah.
don't like having to go back to it, but you have to admit everything he said regarding to his thought process, how he felt, and what he said towards you. It was absolutely 100. I
No,
cannot
I
argue with that.
that's why, like I said, and Dan was someone who just said his piece and left it be. He didn't consistently go after and all that. Because I know some people are like, well, why did you go after Jordan but not Dan or not this guy or not that guy? It was more so in my thought process. It was people that were in one way, shape, or form consistently going after. So, but again, it wasn't the right way of handling things at that time.
No, it wasn't.
So fast forward to about the end of the year, I through Jordan's mom, I got in contact with my ex-wife, and we were primarily there to discuss my daughter because she was about to lose rights to her and her other kids due to the fact that the person that was really the abuser was the dude that she was with at the time. So
Yeah, and I know who that person
yeah,
is. And for the
so
record, most of the stuff that he's about to say, I had no knowledge of. My mom was only keeping contact with Chayton and the ex because again, I told her I didn't want any involvement with it. I didn't agree with it, but then again, at least it showed that some people are willing to take things and just spin it. But go ahead.
I'll put the link in a little bit. I'm actually gonna hold off on it for a little bit too because we're not even close to the halfway point. But anyway, so after that we started
30
talking.
minutes is a halfway point. You said this was going to be an
Well, that
hour.
oh yeah, fair, but we may go because if we're not even we're not even at the halfway point of this convo. I thought we would at least get halfway.
True. True.
Anyway, my point is though is
I'm not
that
trying to be funny. I'm just simply pointing out. I'm
no,
just
I
pointing out
get that.
the kinks here.
So anyway, yeah, and it's 4 years. It's four technically going back to even 2017. So, but anyway, so we started talking again, and originally it had to do more so with my daughter because she was about to lose her rights. They were about to send all her kids away. Plus, we weren't divorced at the time. So by
Not
the state
officially
that
yet.
she was in, I was legally responsible for other kids. Thankfully, we did finally get the divorce finalized a year later. People may ask, why didn't she get the divorce finalized prior? Well, that's on her, because I openly told her if she wanted out, she can get us out, because I, at the time, had no interest in getting married again. So at that point, I didn't really care, as long as I was open and honest, if anybody was dating or anything. If we went that far, we just did a one-night stand.
And for the record, I want to point this out real quick.
Yeah.
She was told, prior, and was warned by, the cops to not let that person, back in because of a domestic dispute, abuse, whatever. And again, I was aware of that, but the thing is, she was warned by, law enforcement to not let that person back in.
Yeah.
But guess what? She went against their saying, and she got her kid, like the 4 of her kids that were, that aren't Chaytons, gotten, taken away.
Yeah, and I'll get to that more in detail in a little bit. So we were talking, and at the beginning it was primarily about our daughter, right?
Right.
Then it started to get more personal. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, she was talking about my love life. She was saying I could do better. And even when we were discussing about trying to finalize a divorce, because for some reason, even though we got married in Texas, I had to go to the state she was at the time, which I thought was kind of weird. But I was like, I didn't know the area. I've never been up there and all that. She even offered me to stay at that at her place, which, again, very weird for a woman who has claimed all these horrible things I've done to her.
Oh my God, yeah.
Allegedly, I'll might add, the horrible things I've done to her, and allegedly horrible things I've done to our daughter, right? So after that, it was in 2022, because we were having good conversations. And after that, it was around right before spring. I was planning on showcasing the messages, because I just thought, you know what? At first, it was just about our daughter. That's completely fine. Hey, you want to try to be adults finally after all these years? All right, I'll play ball. But it got.
I mean, it was a good idea, and it was for mutual cause.
But you went from talking about my sex life and talking about other things, even talking shit about some of the people that were having her back at the time. And I don't think she ever talked shit about you, Jordy, but she talked shit about a lot of people.
But she probably talks shit about me now, which I could care less.
But so anyway, because let's be honest here, and I mean no insult to anybody. A lot of these people were simping for her hard. Let's be honest here, because a lot of them, no offense to you, Jordan, I really don't mean this as an attack to you, but a lot of virgins, a lot of fucking people who don't even know what a woman is really, except for anime or fucking some other weird shit. No offense to anybody who likes anime, but again,
I mean, I know what a woman is, and I don't like.
Well, yeah. But I'm just adding to that, because there's multitudes. Like,
there's multiple people that were trying to be either creepy towards her or just show their true personality.
And it was also the fact that a lot of them hated me. So, the whole enemy of my enemy is my friend type scenario, right?
Or the enemy of my enemy could become my girlfriend, which again, that never usually works. It never usually works like that.
So anyway, at that point, I was going to showcase the stuff. And at the time, I had a conversation, and I'll name these people for context. Paige and ZTB, Paige was the one who got me in the call with ZTB to have a conversation with him, to explain to him about everything, and explain about, her accusing me of violence, rape, all this other stuff, right? And after that, I started to slowly appear on ZTB stream, and I told him I'm most likely going to show it on fucking my channel so I could take the blowback. Then an individual by the name of Daniel Rolfe, Hiroshimaru, came into the panel, did what he always did, even when we weren't talking about drama, and come in there, call me an animal abuser, call me this, that, and the third. Yeah. And so at that point, I had enough, and I decided to release the screenshots and everything, which is still on ZTV's channel if people want to see it. I think it was called Your God, If Your God Allows It, or something.
I believe that was directed towards Arthur at that.
Which I did, I'll be honest.
Originally.
Yeah. Which again, I came in there and I wasn't even planning on doing anything regarding that. Now, and I'll be transparent with you people. When I was showing the screenshots, I did show a picture that she sent me of our daughter, which is something that in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have with the sickos on here. But, you know, it was, again, because again, when you're accused of all these things, you know, it kind of gets to a point when if you want to put the nail in the coffin in regards to proof, then there we go. But anyway, so after that, my whole thing at the beginning was basically to do it and leave it be and watch everybody's head explode. Because I openly said this. I wasn't trying to be welcomed back in open arms or anything like that. My whole thing was I wanted to show people I may be a wolf, but she's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And after that, Jordy still went back and forth, mostly me, I'll admit. And after that, people like ZTB, Kevin, Bio, we were best buddies. Regardless, whether Kevin wants to admit that or not, or Bio wants to admit that or not, he was kissing my ass. And I'm not saying this as a joke. It was legit. He basically forcefully shoved his nose up my ass and was kissing it. And again, I'm not meaning this in a joking manner, but let's be real here. Like, he was always there. And he was always buddy with me. So basically for the events of 2022, it was mostly me still having an issue with Jordan, me still having an issue with some other people, but a good amount of the people that honestly I should have never forgiven, that crucified me the most, I forgave. Now we get to 2023. And it was around...
I want to say something real quick regarding 2022.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing with that situation, you know, and you brought up, you know, ZTB. The thing is, I told him, and I know he said this to just, you know, twist it. Like, I don't care what I said anymore. I was simply trying to warn him that there were going to be consequences. Like, you know, like the consequences being that some people might leave because of hypocrisy, because you went after this one guy who you called a devil, and now all of a sudden you're letting this guy back in as if, you know, like, why? Because he deserves it, or that he just deserves a chance. And plus, I was a mod of his, I was an admin, and yet never once did he, you know, like, you know, have my back, which again, I never really could understand that. But that was during a time when you were just, you know, trying to give the evidence. Now, here's the thing. ZTB claimed,
also 2022, because I forgot this part, but anyway,
ZTB claimed that me and my mom knew the whole time, and we falsely accused Chayton of being a rapist and all this other stuff, even though I never once, I don't think I remember calling you a rapist. Am I honest here? Like, I don't remember.
I believe so. I don't, like you said, I deserve to be in prison, but you never specifically said what for. Now, I think your mom did, but I understand for the fact that I attacked not only you, but her other son and her daughter.
My brother,
to be fair, I'm
and of course my sister right now. Yeah,
I don't hold that, like, we don't hold that against each other anymore. But like, yeah,
no, not
that
anymore.
Also brings up to, well, I think that was in 2022. What was the dark humor joke that ZTB tried to defend? Was that in 2022 or 2023?
I think that must have been in 2023. It must.
Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. The final update regarding my ex regarding, and then we'll leave that be for the time being.
I
Because
mean, if anything, I'll just say this for real quickly. I left the BHC. I did say my piece a little bit, but the thing is, like when it comes down to it, I felt like like what was the point of even joining them if they were just going to do this, But
yeah,
we're never going to know because again, it's too late, and I know ZTB might make his retort, and you know what? I don't really care because if anything, I never really had an issue with that guy. The only issue I had was him trying to bring things upon the group, as it were, and make it worse. And
yeah,
just because of that, I was done.
and
Even with the whole other thing that happened, uh, again, I still couldn't trust you at the time, Jayden, nor could I
yeah,
trust ZTB. Because again, whether or not we were all bounded by a common cause of whatever the case was happening, I still couldn't trust you because it wasn't the right time. I couldn't, work with you because it wasn't the right time.
yeah. And so, I guess the final part regarding my ex-wife was that.
Oh, I want to say this real quickly.
Go ahead.
So basically, I mean, here's the thing. I have a poor taste in, like in certain friends and all that, or just simply certain people, but that doesn't change the fact that I am a nice guy. Okay.
Yeah,
I know some people take that for granted and take advantage of it, but you know what? I am who I am. Okay? And there's nothing that can change that. And some people can ridicule me and all that stuff, but I don't really give a shit.
and
But
so
her and her cousin at the time decided to, think that I should, like cut ties with another individual who again um, had caused some trouble in the past, which again I'm not going to bring up. He could be in the chat or he could be listening. I mean, it all depends. But as far as I'm concerned, I was going to show my loyalty to the ex, but the problem is she didn't give me a chance to, and that's what happened. We She blocked me, and she doesn't want to associate with people that have bad people like this person or that person because of quote unquote racist or whatever stuff. Well, here's the thing: a lot of people within that community, have done racist stuff. So, and a lot of other bad stuff. So, and plus, she also said that she watched, and I think the cousin said she watched, or that the ex watched your stuff.
it was the cousin, which I thought was weird because again, I like that was the whole thing back then. I
I
thought
had
it was.
like, I even called out the bullshit where it's kind of funny how you say you're don't want to watch your ex's stuff, but yet you're watching your ex's stuff.
Yeah, and this is the other thing.
And
I didn't even know.
I'm talking about Chayton's ex, not
Yeah,
Chayton.
but like regarding that was I didn't even know who the cousin was until she was on I think one of ZTB streams. So I didn't even know anything about her. So I'm like thinking, but again, family, family sons will defend blindly. That's just how it is. It's not nothing wrong with that. But now going back to the X real quick before we get into the 2023 portion. So
Mm-hmm.
we yes, it's gonna go over. Sorry. But we like after that she tried to justify her reasoning for why she was being nice to me and asking me about these things. She was trying to manipulate, blah blah blah, just trying to save her ass. But at the end she lost all five of her kids because I'm not saying this to be
including
funny.
including including the one
Our
that you
daughter,
two
yeah,
had. Yeah.
yeah. So
And like I said, had she not listened to law enforcement, this would not have happened.
yeah, the cops told her that this dude's a piece of shit. He's done this,
Yeah,
he's done that
the current boyfriend at the
at the
time.
time. Yeah. And so I'm not saying this to be funny. It's just the honest truth. She chose dick over her own kids. It's not me trying to make jokes about it. It's just the honest truth.
Well, another thing, she also claimed that she said he has a right to see his kids. Well, here's the thing: it's not for you to decide whether or not someone gets to see the kids when law enforcement clearly tells you that this person is not to be let inside the premises.
And she had multiple CPS things. The whole reason why CPS even got involved with us back in 2017 was because they tried to say that she was whoring herself out, which at the time was true, but I wasn't with her at the time.
Like whether or not she was whoring herself out
Yeah,
or
yeah,
not,
but
it doesn't change the fact. It
Yeah,
doesn't change the fact that she decided to let that person in,
yeah.
and she disobeyed law enforcement.
But I'm also adding to the fact regarding the CPS of, and with me,
Right.
they said that I was trying to sell drugs, which anybody who knows me, I'm not really a drug user.
You're more of a cigarette. You're more of a
Yeah,
cigarette user than
like
you
I
are a
smoke
drug
weed from
user.
time to time with my fiance, but that's not something I do on the. I don't even drink that much. But my point is regarding this, I did drink a lot of 2021 through my depression. No excuse, but hey. But my point is regarding that was, so she lost all her kids, and at the time, they were trying to give my daughter to me, but also at the time I was taking care of my mother, and it got to the point where I was tired of her being basically pulled by multiple different people, whether that be CPS, whether that be me, whether that be her mom, whatever. And I talked to the people. Now I was in the process of giving up my rights because of I just at this point I thought you wanted me out of the picture, fine. Fuck. I'm tired of you trying to fuck with my freedom. I'm referring to the mom. And so because unfortunately, whether we like it or not, Texas is a very pro-women state. Talk about equality here, ladies and gentlemen. But so anyway, so I had one request to give when they were gonna do. I knew a family that I still talk to, and yes, they do know about the thing. They don't agree with it, but they do know about it. So again,
wait, about what?
I was open with what I said to what I'll say his name, Kevin, on the thing, because since someone over there wants to try to say, well, maybe let the parents know. Already beat you to it, pal. Just FYI. Try to be a step ahead. I'm 5 steps ahead.
Oh.
I'm just gonna be honest. Try to refrain from little jabs, but just again, need to let the kid know who's in charge. Anyway, I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I don't like people criticizing or talking about me as a parent without knowing the full context and believing, even if you are being fed false information by a third party, which you are, still, unfortunately, that is unfortunately, right. You're you bite the apple, accept the consequences, a forbidden fruit, if you will, from the Garden of Eden. Now, religious, but I know my religion. Anyway, So back to the topic. So I told that, or I told about that. But anyway, I brought up this family that took me in many years prior because my grandfather was dealing with Alzheimer's, and it was just hectic, and I needed somewhere to go. And so I was there. So I went to them and asked them if they could take my daughter in, and it was something that I was, I didn't want to do, but I wanted. They had a better environment for her at that time. They had a better living situation. And all that. And they were only I only have really a one or two other people currently that I would trust with my daughter, because that's something that's very hard. That's very hard to get. You can get my trust on a lot of things, but regarding my daughter, it's a very short list. Anyway, so I asked for that. As to why I don't see her is because of the fact that I want her to live her life. I want her to be raised properly in the best way possible. And I don't want any confliction. She's been through enough through the first 8 years of her life, and she's doing a lot better. And you know what? I'm at peace with that. If people want to criticize me as a father, if people want to criticize me for letting her go or all that stuff, most of you don't have kids, and if you do have kids, I hope to God that you don't go through the same fucking shit that I went through. So on it, like, honestly, instead of criticizing me, hope that that doesn't happen to you, because you could say it's never going to happen, but trust me, one crazy bitch you pregnate and all that could be a world of fucking hurt. I'm not wishing that
And
on anybody, but that's just something I like nobody really understands until it happens to them.
and you know
So
what? When it comes down to it, I mostly feel bad for the daughter, than I did do anything else. I mean, sure, you made a difficult decision, but the thing is, her having to deal with all of it, I mean, mostly I feel bad more for her than for you, no offense.
no,
Because
I no, trust me. That's
because
what I
because
did. The
again,
one
she's
decision.
just a child, when
Yeah.
her going through this back and forth stuff, I can't help but feel bad for her.
If I brought her into the situation that I was doing at the time, which was taking care of my mother and also trying to just, I was going to be a single dad and do all this other
You
stuff.
are also not in a good mental state
Well,
too.
even in 2020, like two, I was better off, but I wasn't fully there like I am now. But
Right.
regarding that, right? I did something that, if I let her in, that would have been selfish of me. Even if I could have provided for her eventually, the fact is that would have been very selfish for me. If I had the option to give her to somebody that actually fucking could take care of her, not only because I could take care of her with the nurture and love, but if I can't, be able to spoil her if I feel like I need to. Also, one other thing regarding that, the horror movies. Yes, I did show her horror movies like Halloween and stuff like that, and that didn't bother her. I even showed her fucking what do you call it? What was the other thing? Fuck, I'm trying to think. Oh, Pops, and we had a little game where she would look at it, turn it around, say scary. Then she look. It wasn't like it was a playful thing. So again, criticizing what I do with my kid, you may not agree with it as a parent, but again, everybody fucking does parenting differently. I know plenty of people that have their kids watch horror movies at a young age. Maybe not specific horror
Like,
movies, but
dude, there are times where there are kids that actually cuss before they turn,
yeah.
18.
So again,
Like
any
even
any
before they turn 10 too.
any people who want to criticize me of what I do with my kid regarding movies and all this other stuff, again, parenting is not the same for everybody. You can have your opinion, but opinions are like assholes and everyone's got them. You may raise your kid differently than what I do, but I could criticize that, sometimes horror movies could be good for fucking kids. I could say that because again, as a parent, that's my opinion. You can have your opinion on me. Um, Regarding that is just the idea that, you know, again, to criticize, you can criticize all you want, but the fact is that, you know, both parents are like different parents in different parts of the world, different parts of things are not the same. So what you do may be good for you, but it may not be good what I do, and what I do may not be, good for you, but it's none of your damn business. And but
Mm.
that's the explanation regarding that. So again, I just want to point that out there to again, mainly the people who actually have kids, because again, the people who don't, they don't really matter, because the Kevins or Bios of the world, because they don't have parent or they don't have kids, so they shouldn't really be given any criticism to that. Now, I will say this though. Now, getting back on topic, and I'll put the link out there just for clarity's sake. And if I don't let you in right away, that's only because I'm fucking wanting to we gotta still say our piece regarding this, because we gotta get to
So
the events of recently. Now in
so I want to
2023,
I
oh,
want to
go
take
ahead.
over. I want to take over for this
Yeah,
part.
yeah,
So 2023 comes around. I mean, everything's all right. Things are peaceful, I felt more at peace after I left the other, group. And you know what? They should have been at more peace with themselves too. Like, come on, we're not bothering each other. We're just, we're trying to do what we can on YouTube to bring entertainment and joy and a lot of fun to to everybody, no matter who they are. But then all of a sudden, um, this guy over here wants to call me out, of course, because still behind the scenes, everything's all anarchy. Like it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I didn't once, bring him up on any of my streams or anything like that. But I will say though, he wanted to, to call me out because he said he'd leave YouTube forever. Well, here's the thing. Regardless of, whether Dan convinced him or not, I told told Chayton, I don't want you to leave. I mean, that's not what I want. I mean, why would I mean like the only thing that would win would be people that dislike you more than I do. So at the same time, so yeah, we didn't really get to too much clarity in that call out stream, but
basically this is what I told some people. I got all my rage out regarding that. So after that, it was kind of just more like after that, but the other thing was I didn't feel better. Like I didn't like not that, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking still attack you. I didn't feel better. And I realized
it was like as if, it wasn't enough for you,
And it wasn't like, and again, it wasn't like,
and it wasn't like, I know what you're trying to say. It wasn't enough like in regards to letting more rage out. It was more like, maybe you felt bad, maybe you felt more depressed than you normally were. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and so a little while later, I was starting to get like upset and disagreeing with members of the BHC, preferably ZTB, Kevin, and Bio, about certain things. And after that, I felt like, and through also conversations with Dan, I felt like it was time to have a proper non-live, non-public conversation with Jordan. So I asked Kevin.
This happened and speaking of Kevin, I'm not going to say anything negative about him or say any insults because I am a man of my word, but I will say some things that are truthful.
And we'll get that. Well, may have to recap some things regarding that in a little bit.
Well, what really led to that call between me and you was after a stream I did on another person that went after Kevin regarding to his mother, who had, I think, passed away about months prior, I believe. And I did not agree with that. And, I made a stream on it. Kind of like the same stream I made when it came to you and Arthur, what you guys did towards him regarding his dad and his family, I guess. And that was back in 2021. So just take that for what it is, But after I did my stream, of course, ZTB is going to do his stream saying that Adam's suicide was fake all along, even though I never once said that it was fake. I already said that it was a real, situation. Like the fact that someone wants to twist my words around just proves that you are not a reliable source as you think you are.
And I'm guilty for that too, because I was attacking Adam too. And reason why I got at Adam is the same way I got another person for doing this on a stream or video, was because when I was going through my depression, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't make it public. I didn't fucking say anything. Nobody knew until probably a few years later. A few people behind the scenes knew, but not a lot of people for a few years, right? And so it angered me to that point. And again, it's all water on the bridge with Adam, but it was something where I, again, being reckless, reacted to it in a negative manner instead of being maybe at least trying to maybe be like, hey, we may need to back off of him if he's getting this way, and so on and so forth. I'll let him in. Is it him? Yeah, it is.
Who is it?
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Damn, 10 days. I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, you probably won't be hearing me for a while. I commented in the chat, and then I realized that sometimes chats disappear, and I'd rather just be
paying attention to chat too much. So that's why I wanted to.
Yeah. Even if I said something, sometimes YouTube just removes chats from live streams randomly, and it may
Tom,
never.
I will say this though: we are trying to keep focus on topic. If this has anything to do with what you posted, I could just highlight it.
Oh no, this actually does. Everything that they're saying is true, and it's lasted for like 3 years. And I'm not being long because I really just gonna go to bed after this, and it'll probably be the last time anybody ever hears from me. But so everything they're saying is true, and it's been a stress on everybody in the community. I'm not just talking Jordan and Chayton, and even the people that don't want to admit it, like the Kevin Daddies and the ZTBs and Dan. It's just a fucking stress on everybody. And some people everybody deals with it in different ways. Every single person deals with it in different ways. Some people go along with the punches. Some people make videos literally critiquing every moment like it's a CSI episode. Some people troll. Some people just moved on and still kind of periodically show up. But at the end of the day, it's been a stress on everybody. I feel like I've come in different angles on this, and I still end up in the same outcome where I feel like this is not where I came from. So everything you guys are saying is true. Whether anybody listening wants to admit it or actually ask themselves the question about how it's affected them or who they were before this happened is up to them. But I'm here to say that I co-sign on everything you guys are saying for whatever that's worth. And this is exactly the reason why I need to refocus my life on other things and other ideas that I have that's away from this, because this has been a constant. It's literally been a magnet that keeps attracting the same exact thing. And it's just if anybody knows what that means, it's cool. If you don't, I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. It's just a constant thing that keeps getting brought up, and it never stops getting brought up. So, and I understand, I definitely do, because new people come in and they need to hear about it. And I get Chayton explaining it again, because there are new people that don't really know it. But for the people that do know it, they got to constantly relive it. And I don't, and Chayton, I'm sure you're sick of reliving this over and over again.
Yeah.
So you probably more than anybody understand. So yeah, this will be the last stream, and I figured this is the perfect time to do it. And it's like basically to say that everything you guys are saying is true, and whether people listening or not want to admit it, it's paid some type of toll on them. And hopefully they can analyze that, and they can separate what you're saying with what they're feeling and figure out what's better for their lives. And they can probably do better. Everybody,
Right.
Every single person should learn from this and be better, because if this is not healthy at all, none of this is. But I'm gonna go. You guys have a great stream, and this is the last one. So have fun, guys. And I had a blast, Chayan. The stuff we did in the past, it was awesome. I loved it. And I'm only gonna remember the good stuff. All that bullshit that happened in between, I'm not gonna think about that stuff. I'm just gonna remember the good stuff. And Jordan, all the stuff we did in the past is awesome. And none of this is on you guys. It's just that it's unhealthy for me. And that's why I got to move on. It's just like at this point, it's just a bad relationship from my mental state, and I just got to move on. But it's nothing on you guys. You guys are great. And I want Chayton's channel to do great, and David's channel, and Jordan, you've been doing awesome. And I'm going to miss the Uno stuff, but I can't dip my toe. And again, this does have something to do with what you're saying, because this feeling started when the bullshit started. And the bullshit wasn't created by you guys, but you guys are explaining what that bullshit is. So I do appreciate that. And you guys have a good night.
You too.
You have a good night too.
Anyway, so
that was very comforting, I guess.
Yeah, that was unexpected, but anyway, so we're gonna so yeah, so I decided to get through a third party to contact Jordan, which was Kevin.
Right.
Now, granted, that was not the first time I tried to. I actually tried to contact Dragon months prior, and that whole thing.
You did try, but the thing
is,
I declined. Yeah, and it wasn't time, because here's the thing: Rome was not built in a day, and neither was friendships and rebuilding bridges. Like, the thing is, here's what I'm going to tell you people right now, and this is just something that I want you all to know about me. When it comes to burning bridges with me, it takes a long ass time to try and rebuild that bridge and try to, make it all good and great again. It doesn't happen overnight, because I may be a nice person both in real life and somewhat on the internet, even though I act crazy sometimes, but that does not mean that I'm willing to let someone give someone a rope, and just let them climb back up, from obscurity.
Yeah.
Because Chayton had to earn that. And
Yeah.
at that time, that was still what, 2022?
It was 2020. Well, when I asked Dragon at the time, it was 2022.
Because I remember Dragon asking me that, and it had to be around 2022. But
yeah,
either way,
it was before 2023. It was probably near the end of 2022. But yeah, it was basically.
I was still, getting used to this house, and I'm loving this house. Ever since I moved in, I've never felt happier. But so yeah, 2 years ago, somewhere around this time, obviously, we were, again, Kevin was contacted by Chayton to send a message, and he sent me the message, and he pretty much told me, well, Chayton pretty much wanted to talk behind the scenes, and that's exactly what I, I wanted to do. I thought about it, and because I wanted to, think this very carefully, I figured, you know what, I'll do it, because I wanted to, because for the first time in my life, in regards to, I actually took my dad's advice, him being a preacher and all, just to forgive and move on. That is exactly what I did. I didn't do it instantaneously. I just, let Chayton do the talking. It got a little emotional, but still, he apologized to me for what he did towards me, my family, my brother, may he rest in peace, my sister. Um, I mean, and then after that, I apologized on my part regards, towards him too, because again, I may have been vindictive, probably just as he was, when it came down to wanting to tear him apart, in regards to YouTube and, his, reputation. But I felt like, that was both an obsession that we both needed to let go. And I think,
and even with I apologize to you, your mom even later on apologized to me, more in detail. Won't go into details regarding that. That's a private matter in regards to that. In regards to what?
Because most of the conversation, on that day will remain. Here's the thing for all of you people to know. I did do a voice recording of that call, and yes, my co-host and co-founder and co-creator of Rant and Rave Podcast, Brandon Martin, he was there. He can confirm this. He was a witness to all this.
I was also made aware that the call was going to be recorded, which I had a feeling, not because of it. It was just for context,
Well, the thing is, the whole recording is for context, so that way I look back on it.
Yeah, so it wasn't something that for example, I wasn't privy to or anything like that. So,
but I will say though, it is, it just shows that what I have, I keep to myself, and here's the thing. You can pay me about enough money in the world to want this public, but the problem is, no, friendship is a lot more worth than $1. And we're going to get to that soon, obviously, but that was the end, but we made agreement towards each other. No more bullshit. I want to be informed at all times on certain situations, and he agreed with that. And basically, now here's the thing, people. I may have not been content with him still being with I'll just go ahead and say it, the BHC, but the problem is I did not convince him to leave. Okay.
No one did. I did talk to some people like Jordan and like Dan for advice. Not really to convince me to leave, right? It was just advice, just like I would give same advice I would give to Jordan if he had something like that, or advice if Dan wanted to come to me.
If I was, wanting you to leave that group, I would have told you you need to leave that group. It's nothing but trouble. I let you make that decision because I'm not gonna Like, it's the same thing with Kevin or Carlos or whatever. I'm not going to convince them to leave a group because whether it's toxic or not.
And so that brings us to really what has been the main focus of the last 2 years was me leaving the BHC. And they've tried to say every word in the book of why I left. And I've said this, and I could say it till I'm blue in the face and they won't believe it, but this is the truth. And Jordan here can attest as other people. I was upset at certain things that were going on in that group. The constant drama, the constant doxing of people. And again, you may not like Arthur, you may not like Otaku, but your idea of doxing.
Let's not forget, I'm only going to bring this guy's name only once. You may not like Daniel Rolfe either, but here's the thing. Doxing people like that, I mean, like, here's the thing. You may claim it's for the greater good, but here's another thing. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the people who did the doxing. Yeah. If you give out an address, here's the thing. What makes you think they won't go to a different address that's like right next to the address you originally gave them, and they won't kill another person?
Yeah.
That's not even involved in the shit.
What if it was an old address? And so
what if it was like what if it was an old couple or a young couple, like that had children? Blood would be on somebody's hands.
If you have the proper evidence, go to the authorities. And if they don't say nothing, then expose them on YouTube and get them blacklisted from any, I know it's a stupid word to say, but get them excommunicated off of fucking YouTube, right? Don't be, because they're regardless of whether.
And I know the excuse is going to be like, don't you think we haven't already tried that? Well, the thing is, it's not trying hard enough.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
I mean, if you don't think it works, I'll even let you guys in on something. When my family, when my brother was still alive, I was being attacked by trolls that were making false allegations about my family, and guess what? My mom, my dad, they got, something else involved and something law related, and guess what? They backed off.
Yeah.
And this wasn't the BHC. This was a whole different entire entity in and of itself. Now, Chayton, you may not know about it, but I don't usually tell everyone of what's happened in the past.
Yeah, it's not. It's
this is way before me and you were actually actually met.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's So anyway, so I left because of that. I tried to talk to them about it. They tried to say I did this or I did that, but I'm sorry, and I've had and I have no quarry with Jack of Heart, but I personally think if you're running a server and if you are not, and again, Jack, it's not an attack on you.
Well, actually, it was later confirmed that he wasn't just the one running a server. He's a co-founder, not.
No, this was before that even, Adam. So, but okay. Yeah. So my point is that if someone.
No.
That's not him. I already said.
No, not that guy. No, I said before me and Chayton met.
Yeah, so that was before that. So my point is regarding all this was that God. I was trying to be, and yes, it wasn't my server to do that on, but I was staying there for something that I thought was foul. I don't care if you don't like Arthur. I don't care if you don't like this person or that person. It's not right. Like the old two wrongs don't make a right thing. I'll get to that a little bit later when I just said, fuck it, I'm just going to fucking go scorched earth. But after that, I talked to Big Doberman, and he was going to back off, but then Bio and Kevin started to fucking attack me over that. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? If you're endorsing this, and if you're in, and then I found out regarding when Junko it was around the same time that Junko was exposed for being a predator, and I found out that certain people in that server knew about it as far back as 2021. They claim I knew about it because me and Dragon joked about it, but also Dragon joked about Arthur, so I didn't really take it seriously, and I was not made aware of anything. And it's just how it is. But my point is that, 1 second. Anyway, so my point is regarding all this is that like I left. I did talk about leaving. I did talk about having disagreements with it. I did send screenshots to certain people, not just people at the time when I was unfortunately made the mistake of trying to give Daniel a second chance before the lolicon and the underage stuff on Twitter. I sent a lot of people those screenshots of that group, including Jordan, including other people.
Yeah.
And after that, I was going to leave it be. And then a few months later, Bio decided to start up. So did Kevin. And then, I like karma came for Bio and he got doxxed because I told him.
Now, this was like before the whole situation, like regarding me, Eric, and him. And by Eric, I mean my good friend Eric Lima.
Yeah. So then,
now here's the thing: I do not condone anyone who doxed him. In fact, I can even tell you that Chayton. I mean, sure, you could call him whatever you want, but doxer is not one of them.
Yeah, I don't
encourage doxing either.
Even when I had the phone number of Mr. Daniel, when I had a call with him, I didn't get it. I didn't leak it to anybody. I just, kept it to myself. And I'm gonna let this person in. And yeah, we're gonna go a little long. I'm sorry, Jordan. You could yell at me later for this. Anyway,
yes, I will.
Yes. We're just getting to the
no, and like again, you told me that you were doing the stream. Jordan sent it to me, and I was going to listen to it later. But then you told me that other people had come in and they made their piece or whatever, and there's something that's left out. And I listened back to make sure, and I was for the most part, I think we can all agree I've gone on to my own thing. I joke with R&R. I BS with Chayton occasionally.
Yeah.
But let's go back to when I said my little piece about Chayton, right? I said, look, he lied to me. It is what it is, right? I said my piece and I split. I think that's forgotten. I split. I was done. I was gone.
No, I brought that up earlier.
So I started the Rebellion channel. We did whatever. Did little interviews here and there. And so then there was a conversation, and I don't, whatever Paige was in it, and Jordan was in it,
right?
And it got recorded, and then that conversation got leaked out.
Oh,
do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
by some random channel that no one could ever figure out who it was, right?
Yeah.
And who got blamed for that?
Me.
I don't know. Who do they say was behind the channel? I'll say plainly, who did your friend Dragon say was behind that channel?
You.
And who did you hear that from?
Who did he hear it from?
Or no, yeah. Who was involved with that?
Tom.
Okay. I was gone. I split. I was good. And I asked Tom, hey, could you let Dragon know why he would accuse me of that? And I waited. And I waited. And it's been years and never got an answer. So I let it go. So fast forward. I was there when you confided your information as ETB. I believed you because you showed me everything. You and I had not talked in a year.
Yeah.
You confided stuff into me. You shared it today. The stuff that you haven't even told anybody. We talked about it. I've kept it to myself for all this time. So this idea that people want drama is horseshit. Plenty of us have tried to move on.
Yeah.
And maybe it's my own pride because I'm not going to be used as a proxy, we came back. So let's fast forward. You and I, Chayton, have been friends for many years now. Oh, let's not count the year we didn't talk, but we've been close. We talk almost every day.
Yeah.
I don't tell you who to be friends with. I don't tell you how to live your life. You ask me for advice. And as we've discussed today, after all this happened earlier, you and I discussed, and when Jordan would tell you because he was there, you damn near never take my advice. And it's fine. But I want to be clear. You never take my advice.
Yeah.
You're a grown man, and I'm not judging you for that. But I want to, have I or have I not called everything that's happened up to this point?
Yes.
Yep.
And Jordan, you can agree with that. And y'all are complete opposites. So you usually wouldn't agree on most things, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So you and I, Chayton, started a podcast. You, me, and my buddy. And I told you my exact words were, look, I'm doing something different. If you decide to play in the mud, there's going to be repercussions, right?
Yeah.
That happened. Jordan was in that call whenever I sadly had to distance myself from that podcast with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No ill feelings, no bad will, no nothing, right?
Exactly.
No. There was no, like, I didn't even bitch or moan or complain or cry about it, you know.
Because we handled it like adults, right? It was adult things. We were adults.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing has to be streamed for everybody to see. So then let's go back. When you had your interaction with Jordan, because I'm catching up to where we're at now, you had your interaction with Jordan. And you had that, not the last one, but the one where you said if he showed up, you would leave. You would be exiled, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, technically Jordan didn't follow whatever, and it was a technical thing, blah, blah. So you were going to stick around. And Jordan, I hate to tell you this, but the whole exile thing, that was a spoof of what happened with y'all.
Yeah.
So we started the exiled stuff. And for anybody who thinks it was more than just me and him horsing around for fun, you're full of shit. And I'll tell you what I've told Chayton every time we've talked about it. It was never meant to last. It was meant for this man to find himself again because a lot of damage had been done. Right?
Yeah.
And I think you've done a good job of that. The Exiled Outcast, Exiled Entertainment, all that was fun, but it needed to get you back to being you and not, let's just say, miserable person you were at the time.
Yeah.
So, fast forward. Before you and Jordan had your conversation, you and I had a conversation. And I said, "You've done so well, man. I'm so proud of you. You're back to the guy I first met. You're full of confidence again. It's great. And you're not Hangman Charlie. You're Chayton Long." And I said, "But there's one final piece, right?" And I said, "One final thing you got to do. And you may not like this, but you got to do it." And what was that?
To have a conversation with Jordan and to basically make peace.
Okay.
Yep.
And I said that you had to do that privately. And it wasn't for a show. Right?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't know you were asking the question. My bad.
So let's just say other people wanted it to be broadcast for entertainment. And I was like, what the fuck? Let it go. So this idea that people want drama is horseshit. There was a considerate effort to put Chayton out there as a human being because he's a very entertaining guy. All I've seen, though, in my disappearance and me moving on to do other stuff and having fun with Jordan on the side, Chayton on the side, other people, is a conscious effort to cause more bullshit. Oh, and bio, I'm right here. I was also in the stream the other day in the rant and rave, whatever, or chilling with Jordan. So if you have something to say to me in a chat or you need to talk to me because apparently I pull the strings for Chayton, I'm right here. He's a grown-ass man, as am I. So here's what I talked to Chayton and Jordan about today. And I know y'all going to go on with whatever. That's fine.
Right. That's good.
Some stupid shit happened. And it's been stupid. And all of it's been is a bunch of back and forth about your mom is this, my mom is that, whatever. And it's stupid.
Yeah.
Do I think that Kevin and Carlos bringing up your daughter is kosher? Hell no. That's disgusting. It's pathetic. Do I think you attacking his mother's cool? Hell no. Do I think them bringing up calling you the worst thing that a father can be called, because I won't say it, is right? No. But it continues. So I had a conversation with you. I had a conversation with Jordan at the same time because we talked. Jordan reached out to me and we talked.
This is before I had to go live on a different channel.
And I said, you have two choices. You can go out there and fight it like you've been doing and see how well that works. And maybe more of your mom's pictures we put out there. Or you can just be honest. Yeah. And I think that's what you're doing. So it wasn't, no one's right here. No one's ever been right with any of this. It's stupid. It stems from stupid, bitter bullshit from cliques and groups, and it needs to stop.
I agree.
It's stupid. Everyone around here is at least in their 30s. It's dumb. We high side, we joke. I make fun of Chayton with Blue Chew jokes, and I pretend to be a Mexican luchador. And it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
But this is stupid for a bunch of people you're never going to really meet. You're not going to the UK anytime soon. And Kevin's not getting off that futon anytime soon and coming to the States. It's not happening. I don't care what that guy does. I don't care what any of these people do. It's stupid. I'll never get the satisfaction of knowing why I got dragged into the BS. Not ever going to happen. Don't care. I'm better off. It just tells you the caliber of people that we're fucking with here. I will never understand why you have friends that try to instigate you into stupid shit. It's not my place. I'll simply say my piece and move on. But what I would like to happen, and as your friend, is for this shit to fucking stop. Because it's fucking, sorry, this is not going to be PG, fucking retarded. It is short bus, Velcro shoe, helmet wearing, fucking stupid. And you're adults. You're fucking adults.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. If I was in high school again and I saw people like Kevin and his group of people doing whatever, they sit at a table, they eat paste, whatever they do, I just wouldn't fuck with them because I don't care. I got other things to do. So I would suggest do the same. You know, there's an old adage, it takes a big man to walk away. Well, it takes a slightly less mentally challenged person not to go engage with mentally challenged people. I do remember a conversation I had with Kevin where he basically said he's willing to fight with mentally challenged people if they attack him. Are you that guy, Jordan?
No, I'm not.
Are you, Chayton? Are you that guy who's going to go fight with mentally retarded people?
No.
Okay, so why are you doing it now?
I think he's talking to you.
Both of y'all. Why? I love you to death. I mean, I'm like, that's a rhetorical question, whatever. I love you both to death.
Yeah,
because y'all are good. Y'all are good guys. Jordan, you and me, good with the Lord all day long. Praise be to Him. Chayton, you are my little brother. You will always be my little brother. And you are living proof that blood does not bond people. It doesn't make up family.
Yeah. That's true.
And I've sat here and I've kept my mouth shut. I did 15 minutes on a Hangman show, on the Outcast show. And people got up in their feels. Oh no. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. I have better things to do. This shit is retarded. I'm happy that you can get this off your chest. I really am. Because you're right. It is. It's about time. But it's retarded.
Yeah.
And if you want to stoop to the level of these people, you know what? I like Sloppy because he takes stuff seriously. He's going after real predators. And I was the one who said that Sloppy was owed an apology. Was I not?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
I talked to Sloppy earlier. I got no problem saying that. Good guy. Real good guy. Not attacking anybody. He's allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And he's very right. This stuff is stupid. So, love you both. Understand you're not always going to get the answers you want, and you're probably not going to get people to conform to the ideas that you think, hey, I'm living proof of it. But you move on.
Yeah.
There are bigger things in life. I got a beautiful big booty wife, good life, wonderful house, good friends in you two. I'm sitting high in the hog. Life is good. I'm going to catch reruns of the Hangman Outcast. I'm going to harass Eric Lehman next week on Rant and Rave because that's what I do.
Well, wait till 300 so we can, finally have that, good reveal.
If I can get that reveal to work, then yes, I will absolutely come on there and give him shit. But as I've always said, and that being said, y'all have a good night. I love you both. You know I'm here if you need me.
Love you too, man.
And for those I did mention earlier, I'm a big motherfucker. Not quite an elephant, but I don't forget. As much as you want to believe that I'm stupid and oblivious, I've never forgotten. And I know what kind of people you are. And these are my friends. And they're not here for your fucking entertainment or for you to pester on and antagonize and gaslight. For the rest of you, have a good night. And for anybody who wants to continue this bullshit, as me and my lovely wife say, eat a dick. Good night.
That's a great catchphrase, though, too.
Yeah. So yeah, to where were you? Oh, the Carlos saying. So yeah, and the only reason, and I know Jordan doesn't condone it. I partially don't, but I personally, as I told him prior, before I left the BHC, I told him if you play with fire, you're going to get burned.
Oh yeah, it's a true statement.
Something.
I know that what it comes down to is that they all, didn't like the way how you left. But the thing is, like, you left because of a reason. And you left and you even explained it. And even when you try to explain it, I mean, like, it's what he just said. It's like, it's stupid at this point.
It's explaining yourself to mentally challenged people. That's the honest truth. But so get into that a little bit later on. Eric had an opinion regarding what Bio was doing, and so Bio decided to go
great
again.
That you guys are talking again. Well, hey, I mean,
And shout out Jason. Hope you're doing well, man.
Sorry,
I haven't really acknowledged anybody in the chat. Again, we're trying to stay on topic, so
we're doing pretty damn good though.
Yeah. Anyway, so
this is what else happened. I want to fast forward this so that way we can get to our point.
Yeah.
So basically what happened, I think this was over a year ago, is because Carlos had a little bit of an issue. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was related to you. Stupid of me. I'm starting to lose memory here, but I do know
his old channel's gone, so we can't really look for context because all we have.
But what I do remember is the fact that he did a video. With that weird ass bear clapping, and then it goes like, "Ooh, nobody gives a shit."
Yeah. And
thing
again,
is, it was towards a comment that I made in the live chat. I think it was your live chat, and
probably
And then all of a sudden, like, I'm not even attacking you, But hey, I mean, but then all of a sudden, Eric
stuff. He didn't say anything. He didn't trash talk Bio.
No, he didn't say anything bad. He didn't say anything negative Ollie just thought that, you know, he just pretty much said, you know, like to help out Carlos. He wasn't trying to be a dick. And if anything, and again, Carlos said things that he shouldn't have. Like
Told
I
him to
know
wait
Chayton.
this, told him
Yeah,
to
go. Yeah,
die. It's kind
You
of like
might
what
want.
Dan said. Like certain people may want to forgive. And again, I've told Jordan, you know, I disagreed with both of them forgiving him, but you know, it's their decision. I'm not their daddy, you know, I'm not their, you know, they're
Yeah, I
grown
mean,
up.
like here's the
But
thing. I
but
mean, all he had to do. Look, all he had to do was to just, you know, to no longer, you know, be doing stuff like that is just to apologize. And that's all, you know, I think that's all me and Eric wanted, you know. I
yeah,
mean, anybody else may not have liked it or how it was done, but it was done either way.
and I
Now,
was going to leave that. Oh, go ahead.
before that, that's when he got doxxed, before he had to go
Yeah.
live. And I honestly don't know what happened. I mean, I did tell him that, you know, asked him what happened, and I kind of
And
felt bad
regardless of
for him.
whatever they want to believe, I don't like the thing is I don't care enough to look up Carlos's information. I don't care enough to. Even if I want like what am I going to do? Like what am I going to do with that information? Like outside of showcasing it, right? Like literally, what am I going to do with that? Am I going to go all the
Yeah.
way where he's at and fucking punch him in the mouth? No. Same thing with Kevin. If I knew where he lived, if I go to UK, it's going to be tourist and explore. I don't really care. I make jokes about what I would do if something like that or whatnot, but outside of that, I don't care. And so, like, and I let that go regarding Carlos after that. But then he later confirmed. I think there was a troll account that was attacking him still for it, and he said that it was AI. And which again, Adam's name right here. He said it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was AI. It was Chayton. Chayton did it. You know, blah blah blah. And so basically made his apology null and void, because if he's not taking blame for what he said, which again, Jordan and Eric were in that stream when he apologized and said the things.
You were there too, I believe.
Yes, I was. So, and that was something at that point, I never forgot it. And I always, it's like, even when if ever we talk about certain things behind the scenes, I say, remember, this is the guy who called Eric Lima a rapist and said that he wanted him to die of COVID in a violent car crash, but yet he doesn't take accountability for it. And, you know, that was just something that, you know, didn't sit right with you.
And you know something with Eric, he just like he's like, oh well, you know, like I mean he doesn't let it phase him too much.
Yeah.
Me, I mean, when it comes down to me, like as long as you're not going to cause any trouble on my live stream or panel, I got no problem. Or even, you know, how do I put this? Even bringing other family members, like with photos.
Yeah. And so I'm going to fast forward through 2024 because I'm going to be honest here. It was just the same back and forth stuff between me and Kevin.
That was 2024, I believe, you know, when that also happened, but I can't really be sure. I think it was the end of
2023, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, timelines can be a bitch to work with, though.
Yeah, especially since, again, he doesn't have that channel anymore, so we can't look at it for context. But my point is, though, is that,
like, again, I don't have any hatred or malice towards Carlos. I mean, do I think he's crazy at times? Abso-freaking-lutely. But here's the thing. Who isn't?
Yeah, and the thing, and I don't hate him either. I just think he's, again, and I'll get to this in a minute. So I went into, 2024 was pretty much me and Kevin and others going at it. Now, Jordan can attest to this. Yeah. Kevin went low many times, bringing up my daughter, bringing up this, bringing up that. And he, you know, and I did.
I can confirm that because I've seen messages, I've seen chats, and
him, bio. They've called me pedophile. They've called me this. They've called me that. And it was just a back and forth saying, I didn't say nothing towards either of them to the extreme that I did this year. But so, yes, did I go back and forth with him? Yes, but I attacked his character. I attacked him. I attacked his physical appearance. And also something else I want to say here. While I do attack while I have attacked Kevin's appearance, while I have done that, again, this is to Zexio here. Again, I haven't said shit about you or your girl or whoever else. So my point is, and you can criticize my fucking fiance's weight and all that stuff. She doesn't have a fucking, she doesn't come in here trash talk. Like the only time she ever tried was when she was provoked by Kevin. Again, I'm going to say this, refrain from what you are saying because of the fact that, again, by my logic, like by the logic, if I really, because while it's not right or wrong, my logic is I only attack low when people I care about, whether that be family, whether that be my fiance, are targeted. Do people agree with that? And I'll get to that in a minute. Do people agree with that? No. But the fact is, that's my philosophy. And so, again, you could talk about my appearance. You could talk about like all this other stuff. Again, bring in other people who don't have anything to do with it in the situation. And you can say the same thing about me. But the fact is that you come on here, you say you're this, like, I at least give Sloppy credit. He's more calm and all that. You're just a kid. You don't know any better. So you're more irrational, reckless like I am. That's one thing you and I have in common. But again, you come in here and do that. I haven't said fuck all about you just because you're defending Kevin, who you say is a victim in all this. There's no victims in this scenario. I'm not a victim. Kevin's not a victim, or we're all guilty of the same. I'll get more in detail about that, but I just wanted to let that be known. Just next time, maybe think before you act. Like, that's something I'm still struggling with. So maybe you should look at myself and think, do I really want to be reckless? Again, you're still young. You have time to do it. And I'm still relatively young. Rome wasn't built in a day, like Jordan said. But just refrain that. Again, I could go and talk shit about your girl, Cola, I think her name is. But the reason why I'm not going to? Because it's easy. It's easy to talk about, So, again, I just want to point that out there. Again, some people may not like me saying that. But, again, I just want to throw some in my area, we call those receipts. And I don't need to go low in that regard or do all that. But going back to the topic. So after that,
I also want to make it clearly known, I have no problem with Zexio either. I mean, I barely even know the guy, and so that just goes to show what I know.
Yeah, I don't. I like, and this is something I'm going to say. I still don't. I don't have a beef with Zexio personally. I'm just
I don't either.
Letting the kid know what's up. That's basically it. But anyway, but again, I'll give Sloppy credit. He handles it more professionally. Zexio more but again, he's young. He's a kid. He's got to understand. He's makes reckless decisions. We've all done that. Nothing but just want to lay it out there. Now going back to bio, or going back to that whole situation. So 2024, it was basically me going at this person, me going at this person, but primarily, and Jordan can attest to this, I then went low on Kevin. Kevin did try when I called him Kelly Mama. He tried to say I went low at him, which again,
yeah, I mean,
Kevin, female Kelly. What's the opposite of fucking daddy, mama? It ain't my fault that your last name is that, so you can call me Chayton Little for all you care and call Jordan Long. So, it is what it is.
Like, here's the thing, and I'm
go ahead.
I want to say this for the record. I did not agree with anything that Chayton did towards Kevin.
And we're talking about in the recent sense.
Yeah, well, not just that, but anything, because again, like most of the stuff, like if anyone ever thinks that I agree with everything on Chayton, here's the thing. I talked with my dad earlier today, and you know what? He even makes a point. You don't always have to agree on everything with one person. And it's true. I don't agree with everything that Chayton does, but that doesn't mean I won't call him out on it as well. And I have multiple times.
Yeah, and I'll be getting to that because so coming full circle to this year, it was starting to get very vile between me and Kevin. because I left it alone for a while. Then we got back into it. Because the problem is, if you attack one of them, you attack all of them, right? So it's us again. It's a mob mentality, right? So at that point, me and him were going at it, and I was getting really tired of the fucking daughter comment because, again, I'm just going to be honest here. He will probably never be a father, and this is not me. Honestly, I'm throwing a little shade because to be a father, you got to be able to find your penis. But it's just the idea that,
Shade.
I know. This person tries to keep bringing it up because, again, it's an idea of one-upsmanship. This is the whole scenario of this whole thing. It's a constant battle of one-upsmanship. So before the Outcast, I let Jordan know that I was going to confront Kevin and go scorched earth on him. Because, again, going back to what Jordan said, no bullshit.
I did know that you were going to do something. I just didn't know how far you were going. And I knew whatever it was, I wasn't going to agree with it. Because, again, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
And after I got done, I think it was the first time, I can't remember, I did get a freaking message from Jordan the next day criticizing it, not agreeing with it. And all I told him was, that I've been quiet for a year. And what I mean by quiet, yes, me and him gone back and forth, but I mean quiet in regards to going low like he did. Because he mentioned my mother, he mentioned my girl, he called her a street hooker, which, again, didn't really bother, just made jokes about it. But the point is that, and his defense was, well, since I went low on his parents 4 years ago, which, funny enough, we made peace and we apologized to each other. At that point, again, it goes back to me leaving the BHC. And so after that, I left it to where, I left it be. Did I go back? I go back and forth at him? Yes. Did I make jokes regarding him? Yes. But I attacked him solely. I didn't go after his mom at that point. I didn't go after his dad. I did bring up the brother thing because, honestly, I don't believe a word he says. That's just my opinion. Because I felt like, because we had a private conversation, because I was going after, this when me and him were still friends, I was going after him because of Arthur. Because of him going after Arthur. I was giving him a piece of my mind. And him, me, and CTB were in a private call where he admitted to me, allegedly, that his brother touched him. And personally, this is my opinion, it's not Jordan's opinion. I think that's a load of bullshit. I think he just did that to justify why he goes after Arthur. And that's not, I like, regardless of whatever reason, that's not right. Certain people that are Preds, okay, fine. But Arthur, no, because even Sloppy has proven that he's not. Now,
exactly.
Go back.
I'm gonna say this too.
Yeah.
Like, again, I don't always agree with Chayton's theories, but again, I can't stop him from having them either.
Yeah, and I told Jordan this after we had our little, we didn't argue or anything. Main thing I told him was, because I'm about being
we
fair.
had a disagreement. That was pretty much it. I'm
about being fair. And what I told him was that you could criticize me. Don't have an issue with that. I want that same fire towards Kevin. Because you know damn well that Kevin has been,
I have tried in the past. Yeah. It's just that, and I'm not, and again, I'm not trying to talk trash. This is an actual fact. Like, every time when I try to, reason with Kevin, he just doesn't want to listen. And it's all because of what Arthur did and said about his folks a long time ago. But here's the thing. Wouldn't it be more peaceful that if you had more closure just to move on? You don't have to be friends with a guy. All you got to do is just not talk about him anymore, like on live channels or even interact with him. Just
Arthur was gone. Now, granted, parents, but Arthur was gone for 6 months.
Yeah.
And that is a fair point. I actually do agree with that. Anyway, Arthur was gone for 6 months and they were still harassing. I told him this going back all the way to 2021. If he stopped mentioning them, they wouldn't stop. And that proved my point. And I'm not trying to say this to fucking stroke my ego. But the fact was, I told him that. Took a little while. But basically what I told him back in 2021 was found out to be true. Now, let's fast forward because we went through the scorched earth stuff. Me and Kevin been going back and forth. Let's go to the daughter thing. I got so sick and tired of him and other people bringing up my daughter, regardless. And we're, again, you can call me fucking deadbeat, all this other stuff when you don't know fuck all about anything. Again, half of you that are fucking going after it don't have kids of your own. So honestly, you have no right to say anything. That's just my opinion. But and all that, and some other people who have kids, maybe they don't understand it because they've never went through stuff that I went through. And I'm not doing this. I'm not saying this to get sympathy from people. I can give two fucks. My point is that they don't know because they never went through that. So going to it, I was in Sloppy's stream talking shit to Kevin. And I brought up the fact that, I kept thinking to myself, you talk about my kids so fucking much. It's like, it's starting to make me think things because I'm going to be honest. I've said this before that I think Kevin looks like a pedophile. If he got arrested, he would fucking, and if he got charged, I wouldn't doubt it. So I basically told him, if you wanted to rape her, right? Not, and this is the other thing that these dumb fucks are trying to say. Again, opinions, okay, fine, but trying to twist it, saying that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, or I'm wanting him. And again, paste. Again, you eat a lot of it, you become more retarded. And so at that point, and then Kevin said, yeah, and he tried to make every excuse. People try it. I have my opinions on it. And this is the one thing I'll say. I've apologized. I said this earlier, and I'll say it here, and this one's going to be public. I apologize to Sloppy for that happening on his stream, and I apologize for what I said regarding my daughter, referring to that. And I let the parents know about it, and and everything's good. I just, they were aware of some of the bullshit that was going on back in the day, because again, they had to be given the 411 on certain things. My point is,
so they were given the 411, but are they aware of the channel and everything else right now?
My channel?
Yes.
Yeah, they're aware. They know.
Okay. As long as they've gotten that, I mean, I guess there's really, nothing that
I'm gonna put you on timeout because that, again, I made an agreement with that person. We're not bringing anything up. Actually, I'm just going to delete the comment. If you make that mistake again, I will put you on timeout. If anybody sees that's a mod, if they reference that person, put them on timeout. That's all I'll say. Anyway, getting back to you. So
what I do know is that, and I'm going to tell you all this. And Sloppy, I heard what you said about me. Okay. I did not agree with what Chayton did right there in your panel. I still don't. It's not like, you might want to time him out. But anyway,
I can probably do that on my end. If someone else.
But anyway, the whole point of all this is the fact that I had no involvement with what Chayton did. I mean, sure, what I'm about to explain in a few minutes will probably get you to understand why I had to do what I had to do on my side of things. But the thing is, I do not condone nor encourage nor endorse anything that Chayton did right there on your panel. If anything, I did tell him that I did not agree with it.
Because everything has to be public.
As a matter of fact, Dan, who was in here earlier, he did not agree with it.
Yeah. I cannot, and not everything has to be public regarding certain things. Now, I will also say this regarding that. Like I said, I apologize to my dog. I apologize to fucking Sloppy. I will not apologize to Kevin. That, if anybody's saying, anybody says that I owe Kevin an apology, no. I don't care what anybody says. I don't owe him. I don't owe Carlos. I don't owe any of them an apology. And they don't need to apologize to me. Even if they apologize to me, I'm going to be honest. I'm gonna like, and again, I've said this to Jordan. He is a far bigger man than I. I'm not going to accept the apology of like mentally challenged children. That's just that use their disabilities as an excuse or a defense mechanism. Like I have autism. You don't hear me fucking in here saying about that. I was dealing with depression. It's a real thing that a lot of people, regardless of what mental capacities anybody deals with, has. So yeah. I want that to be known.
I also agree with that right there. No adult should use a kid to get one up on someone, point blank, period. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this right now to be real with you. Carlos, Kevin, and you, Chayton, like shouldn't have done that. And I mean, like this is honest to God truth, because both sides like are not innocent in this. I mean, like if yesterday what you did was foul, imagine what you could have done the next day after that, and you were still in that same mindset.
Yeah, I could have.
It would have gotten all far worse. I mean, there wouldn't be no like apologies or anything like that. It would be crucifixion and bloodshed.
And then after that, I basically marketed about the Kevin thing because again, he has falsely accused multiple people of being a pedophile. Again, regardless, like I'm not writing the scenario, and I will be responsible on that. But the fact is that in my mind, I was giving him a taste of his own medicine, right or wrong. That wasn't. It was just my mindset at the time. And again, I
mean, it's still wrong, and you have to take full responsibility regardance, of what you say
I will
or do.
take responsibility regarding that. But again, just like that, I don't deserve. Like I'm not going to apologize to him, nor even if they apologize to me, not gonna do it. Like after this, it's done. I'm not gonna fucking bring them up. I'm not going to do anything. I may even delete the AI calls with them just because I don't want to ever hear their mouths again on certain streams. Now, get to the Outcast. Now 2 nights ago, I went in there and I did the sermon and the cleansing of one Kevin Daddy, and I took some more shots of his mom and his dad and all that, and said some horrible things.
Well, after you got bumped off the panel and then you came back, that's when
that was actually
that's when things turned into FUBAR.
Yeah. And so at that point, and
I don't think, I mean, I may have listened to that part, but I don't. But again, I don't remember a lot that happened. I do know that it was foul from looking back on it.
And I fully acknowledge and take responsibility for. Again, I will openly say this: I'm not sorry to him for what I said. And but it's just, again, you don't have like, I'm not like, when I say I'm sorry, I want it to mean something. If I just give it out left, right, and center, because
it's the same thing with me too.
Yeah, I can admit I'm wrong in the situation. I could say, oh yeah, it was because of Kevin doing this, doing that, whatever. But the fact is, I can actually take accountability, and I'm not going to fucking.
And you even have people like me to hold you accountable for your actions.
Yeah.
Like to remind you that you are better than this.
Because here's the other thing too. So after that, it was done. It was over with. And then Kevin, I was informed. Do you want me to say by who?
Go ahead. You might as well.
I was informed by Jordan of what Kevin posted. And
I was disgusted. Since he's in the live chat right now, Adam, it reminded me of what he did towards Kevin 2 years ago.
Yeah. And so after that, and again, I could have fucking done the most heinous thing with him imaginable if I really wanted to. But again, it's too easy, and I'm not going to resort to childish memes just to fucking strike a nerve. What I did do,
it's not just a matter of memes. It's a matter of using someone else's family for a quote unquote meme. Even though, again, people can say that Chayton had it coming. Well, here's the thing: does his mother deserve it?
Well, they could also say, does Kevin's mother deserve it? But again, it's too easy, and I'm not going to resort to childish memes just to fucking strike a nerve. What I did do, But I'm just going to be honest here, like regarding that. Again, he's openly.
Like I did not agree with the fact that when you said something about his parents being in hell, I still don't. I mean, and I will be straight up with you. I will be straight up with everybody that's watching. I do not agree with that. And I thought, just like with Dan, I thought it was foul.
Yeah.
And did I somewhat confront you about that? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Because that's what real friends do.
Yeah. And at that point.
And speaking of which, you mind if I have the floor for a couple of minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna bounce out because I'm gonna go on my phone. That way
I know that.
Without any issues.
Let me just say this for the record, for everybody to know. Okay, let me just say this for the record, for everybody to know. Earlier today, I wasn't even going to mention this because, again, I did not want to bring this up. But you know what? Obviously, it's been brought up, probably indirectly by Sloppy. I don't know if he knew about this or not, but it really doesn't matter anyway. I confronted Kevin about that, just like I did with Adam, the same situation. Him using, Kevin's, mother as a meme on whether it was on Piana Farms or whatever. And I did just that. And I did this with Kevin, Sure, it wasn't. I mean, like, it's the same thing, like what happened 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden, he acts like as if it's not a big deal. Like, oh, well. And I'm like, oh, well? Like, Kevin, I know you're probably watching this, and I know you're probably going to be doing stuff. And be honest with you, I could care less. But listen to where I am coming from. And I want Sloppy to hear this too. And everybody else that's listening within the sound of my voice. You want to know the real reason why I blocked Kevin today? It wasn't just because of that. The real reason I blocked him was because every time I have tried to be a real friend to this guy, and I have, and you know what? If anyone says that I wasn't, they're full of shit. Okay? For 5 years, I was more of a real friend of this guy than half of the people that he's ever met online. You see, 4 years ago, Chayton and Arthur, who Arthur, by the way, is in the chat, they went low at Kevin's dad, and his family, okay? Who was the one that stood up for him and made a live stream before any of the BHC did? Even when I was there, but who did it first?
You.
And you know what? I still don't regret it because at least I knew what I did, what I thought was the right thing, and it was. Now, fast forward 2 years later, Adam did what I just said, did the exact same thing about Kevin's mom. He pretty much put her, face on a Piñata Farms thing. He went too far. And I pretty much, when he wouldn't stop, I pretty much stood up for Kevin. Granted, he shouldn't have gone back and forth with Adam, but still, I stood up for Kevin. And still, before, ZTB made that stream, the one, like, the last one I think you were on when you were in good terms with the BHC, who stood up for Kevin?
You.
So, if anybody ever thinks that I'm a fake friend, that I'm like, a faker, a bullshitter, you might want to get your fucking facts straight. You see, not too long ago, and again, if we're going to be bringing this up for context, if you guys don't know, there's a friend of Kevin's, and, Carlos too. I mean, again, I'm not trying to blame Carl. I'm not blaming Carlos for this, and I'm not even blaming Kevin for this. But I am going to call out some hypocrisy in regards to being a true friend. Cherry said something along the line about my handicapped sister, towards my mom in the BHC server, saying things around the point where my mom should have gotten an abortion for, like, on not just, on my eldest brother, may he rest in peace, or my little sister, but maybe me as well. She actually made those statements. And you know what Kevin said? He said, that's her opinion. It's not an opinion when you're seeing someone go after someone else's children, which you have been doing quite, quite yourself, might I add.
And the
Same thing.
fact that also that you have the gall, I'm referring to Kevin, to call Mama Bear your UK or your mom. You know,
U.S. mom, whatever.
Yeah. I just wanted to point that out there too.
Thing is, my mom was very disappointed in the fact that you didn't call Cherry out on her bullshit. Same thing with ZTB, same thing with anybody. But you know what? That's fine. I mean, like, the hell with, common decency, right? So, and another thing too, and again, water under the bridge between me and Chayton. Chayton, made a little derogatory thing about my brother, and like an imitation of some sorts. And then ZTB, with a hyena-like laugh, decided to decide to, he decided to laugh over it. ZTB did. And what did Kevin do? He said, "I don't agree with it." Oh yeah, that's right. But what else could you have said? Like, are you afraid of, the BHC, that they're gonna like outcast you? Like, are you afraid of, like, are you that afraid of people who you're never gonna meet in real life that much? Like, I was more of a real friend to you than anybody on this fucking platform. If anything. And you could probably convince yourself that I wasn't. I was. I was there. And I stood up for you when it came to Chayton and Arthur going after your dad. I was there when Adam went at your mother. I did. And those are two streams I did for you out of loyalty. I didn't do it because I was a part of the BHC. I didn't do it because I was, like, for any random acts of, getting, views and clout. I did it out of loyalty and friendship to you. And what do I get out of it? Nothing. It's, and you know what? I'm just going to give you, this. It's better to have one real friend than 20 to 30 fake ones. Because if anything, I have done everything when it comes to being a real friend to anybody. All I've ever done.
Go ahead.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we can deal with that in just a moment. But what I'm trying to say is, today you lost a true friend because of the bullshit. Because you didn't want to move on. I mean, Chayton was trying to move on. All you kept doing was poking the bear, and then you get bit. And you want to go over to Sloppy and make yourself look like a victim when clearly he doesn't know the other side of the story of why I unfriended and blocked you.
Yeah, and that's.
Not only do I find that unfair, I find that disgusting.
And that's the thing,
And, I also want to say this to Sloppy.
Go ahead.
I have no ill will towards you. I have nothing against you. I personally 100% support of what you do when it comes up going after predators and all this other stuff. But when it comes down to calling me out, can you at least have the common courtesy to talk to me in private instead of going on another person's live stream and act like you know me instead of thinking that I don't call out Chayton for his bullshit too?
Always said, not only is the panel open for anybody, but my DMs are open. And that's I'm not really towards Sloppy really, but it's just the idea that we do we or so you want to be let in? Okay. Are you? He can let himself in. I forget. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this before I go backstage. Until the rest of the stream. As friends, we need to talk to people privately about problems, not publicly.
I agree.
Because we keep doing that same.
Hold on, David. Before you said it, I forgot. I forgot. I fucked up too. Jordan, I apologize. Sloppy said you can contact him anytime you want. He didn't have any ill will. He had an opinion. So please don't get upset with the man. He wasn't coming at you. He had an opinion. I know you're being
I
heated.
know that. I just wanted to give out my opinion too.
That's fair, but I know you don't. I would refrain from saying have common sense. The guy had an opinion, and again, it's my fault. I did not tell you because we were in the middle of a different conversation. He said, "Wasn't coming at you." He had an opinion, and if you want to talk to him, you have his DMs. You know his Discord. You can reach out to him. That's on me. And nobody get mad at Jordan. Nobody get mad at anybody else. That's on me. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Thank you for coming in and clarify that, Dan.
Yeah.
Anyway, David, continue. Sorry, I just Dan only comes in if he has to say something serious.
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead. Well, David, you're saying something. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm sick and tired of these people on the internet trying to, cause drama publicly instead of going to the actual person about their issues with that certain someone privately instead. I've done that to my friends privately if I need something for advice. I went to these people on the stream right now, not only for advice but for help.
David, you and I usually talk. David, you and I usually talk a few times a week, and it's a good amount about like programming and all that. But we talk about some serious stuff behind the scenes too. And you always know if I'm not at work or if anything, I will always give you the time of day. Same thing will go through Jordan.
I was just about to say Jordan too. Yeah. I mean, I even gone to Jordan for help and advice, and we do it privately. Okay, and there's a thing called, I guess you could say risk an award, but in a good way because, if you go to that person, they'll award you back. Because that's how friends work, and I'm sick and tired of these people arguing back and forth about drama, online 24/7. Because that's all they want is attention. But, I mean, why I do my Chairman 1000 show is because it's all about the positivity of the entertainment, I do for each episode. And I do that show not only because, to do it with my friends, but also to show people you can actually make good content without the drama.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to say regarding... go ahead.
See, the thing is, and you also were inspired because I did chill streams, myself, and that's how it all comes down to it. Not everything has to be put on the internet for everybody to look at and just oh great, this guy's a piece of shit. Well, yeah, here's the thing. Yes, there are going to be pieces of shit online, but here's the problem. If they don't know from common sense, then you don't have to teach them that because it's not your burden to bear. Like. Yeah. I'm not I don't have to teach someone like Kevin common sense. Like I said, I'm not saying a negative thing about him. I'm just simply telling my side of the story and telling the truth. And it is the truth.
Yeah. And this is the other thing. Like, I'm just going to be real with you, Jordan. Remember when you told me about, because I'll be fully transparent. After that picture of the mom thing, we had a conversation.
It brought me flashbacks.
Yeah, we had a conversation, and I've never told Jordan to cut ties with anybody. I have given my opinions and advice regarding certain matters. That was to me. That was something that I told, and David was in that call. He was he's been very frustrated with Kevin too. This is not a secret. Yeah. Kevin talked about it on I think the first episode of the Outcast. But my point is regarding that is that because even Kevin unsubscribed from David's channel because of me being on there and all that. I brought the Outcast onto David's channel not because I wanted to make it a drama channel. It was to give it some edge, to give it something
community,
cutting edge quality and content.
Yeah, to give it some edge.
Wasn't hyped.
Yeah, so my point is regarding this.
It's like back in the day when TNA Impact was on Spike TV when it was cutting edge, like it was the alternative, away from the WWE bullshit. That's the whole thing the Outcast is supposed to bring. Cutting edge content.
Because I don't bring that shit on Popcorn Panel. I don't bring that shit on Shilling 3000. I may promote the show. Like, I even promote the Hangman Outcast on the Popcorn Panel. I said, we're doing a cleansing of a certain person. Didn't say who. Didn't say, again, you could go on the stream and check out, like, if you like the schedule for when it was scheduled to be on there. It was there. So if people wanted to know who I was referring to, they could actually click the thing.
I've known these guys for 5 years. They never caused anything on my channel. You've known me longer than that. You've known me for 6 years.
And Jordan, do I cause any conflict on your channel?
No, you don't.
If they did,
if you tried, I mean, I would have called you out on it and would, lay the hammer down on you.
The only thing I've ever done, and I've openly said this, that I've been fully transparent with Jordan, I go sometimes when I'm not on there, if I see Kevin on there, I go on there and I don't start shit with him. He leaves, and that's not my problem. And I do that because I know he's going to leave. And, I'm a firm believer that someone like that doesn't deserve peace. The show that, like, Chilling with Jordy or the Rant and Rave podcast is not going to miss somebody like Kevin for being on in the chat or on the show. Like, and again, this is not Jordan's opinion. It's my opinion. He brings nothing of value.
I'll tell you this right now for the final record. I will miss Kevin, but that does not mean I will hate him, because I do not.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you, like, and I'll break the fourth wall a little bit.
Because here's the thing, like, Kevin, you lost a true friend in me because you couldn't listen to me for just 1 second, and realize that none of this is worth it. Okay? You want to talk about someone who could beat Chayton? I have beaten Chayton, but here's the problem. I've moved on from it, and he has too. He's even beaten the system itself, and guess what? He's moved on. But it's like always with everybody who wants to keep bringing up past bullshit. It's always the same. Like, we cannot move on with our fucking lives and, just have, at least common sense to have some peace and quiet.
My hands are clean because I've been out of the drama, because that is what I do. I'm worried about my personal life. I'm 21 years old. I'm smarter enough than people who argue all the time on the internet. And that's saying something with me being younger than that. I'm here at 2:22 in the morning. Just got done a half hour ago watching the Dodgers-Padres game. I decided to come on here so that way I can support these guys, because I'm trying to teach the people out there on how to be mature on the internet. And that's coming a lot from me.
Exactly.
And here's something else. And this is what I wanted to point out.
21 years old.
Like it regarding Kevin, when we had that conversation and Jordan had that conversation with Kevin, which we were, I'm going to be fully transparent, because again, we weren't going to make this public. Kevin was the one who openly made it public on Zexio's stream, but
yes, he did.
But I'm going to be transparent with you. 2 things. One, when we had that conversation, I asked Jordan point blank, name me 3 things about about Kevin that says he's a good friend. And the entire conversation we had, David was in there. He could attest this. He couldn't think of one. When I asked about, when I gave Jordan, David, and another person the same question about me, they had more than 3 things. When I returned the favor, because again, I wasn't just doing it to stroke my ego or try to make Kevin look like the most vile human being in the world, I gave Jordan the reasons, I gave David the reasons, I gave the other person the reasons, and it didn't take me 5 minutes or 20 minutes and not have a straight answer for you. The second thing I wanted to add was, this is how much Kevin valued the friendship. He didn't care. He was basically he didn't give the proper time to conversate and maybe try to see Jordan's point. Instead, he popped into Zexio stream, not only in the chat but in the stream itself, to basically play victim and again talk things. Again, Kevin, you ain't a victim. I'm not a victim. Carlos ain't a victim. Nobody is victims in this scenario. And the point is that again, a true friend. I spent 2 or 3 hours conversating with Jordan, David, and the other person. I'm not doing that to boast. I'm not doing that to brag, but because I care, because I am a loyal friend to them. Who was the one? Who was the one who? Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to claim to be a victim in all this, but if anything, wait, who is that anyway?
That's River.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what? Amen to that, buddy.
Yeah, that's anyway, what I said.
So go ahead, Jordan.
What I was going to say is I'm not going to claim to be a victim in this. If anything, I, am just a, like out of circumstance dragged into this.
Yeah.
Like I was dragged into this. I mean, but the thing is, I'm not going to claim to be a victim, not once.
And here's the other thing, and I want to.
And I don't want people to feel sorry for me or pity me because I felt like I put more into the friendship than he did. The problem is, I'm not looking for charity. I just want peace and quiet.
Yeah. And here's the other thing I want to say, because we're going to be wrapping this up soon because we've gotten all of our points across. But here's another thing. When going back to what happened with the Cherry situation, who was the one who sent Jordan and his mother the screenshots regarding a conversation me and Cherry had regarding that? Now, granted, I was not friends with Jordan at the time and we were still enemies. So I was even fucking putting myself in that situation, like basically crucifying myself just to show that. And it wasn't to tell him to block Kevin or do this or do that. I wanted them to know what the fuck they were saying. And again, while I didn't make myself look good by doing that, the difference is that I apologized to him, and anything that was said prior to that was past tense. Cherry never apologized for the shit that she said. And again, Kevin never really went after her. But again, just to let people know, I was the one who
at least call her out on the bullshit.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that always irritates me about that. He won't call Cherry out or Bio out or whoever about anything that they do. But when Bio, for example, or ZTB, again, no current quarry with ZTB at the moment, whenever they're getting attacked, who's right there, puckered lips, ready to kiss ass and have their back? Kevin. And I'm not saying as a joke, that's just, again, but when Jordan was getting attacked by trolls, whether it be because of Adam or Peter Gilmore or this person or that person, where were you, Kevin? Where were you? So that's like the whole point is,
it's all about being there for each other.
Is Jordan, regardless of when me and Jordan had our issues back in 2021 until 2023, who was even there for him going as far back as 2020 when there was shit going on with somebody else over a video game opinion? Who was there? Me. I didn't do it for clout. I did to roast him, I'll be honest with you, but I didn't do it for clout, like in terms of like anything like that. I did to help a friend out. I've been there for people like Jordan. I've been there for people like David. I've been there for people like Eric. I've been there for people like Mason, Lennon, whoever. And for people, whether it be Kevin, Bio, or whoever, say I manipulate people, say that I am like I'm doing all this other stuff. The only people that are getting manipulated is y'all. And that's a fact. I don't tell Jordan to go, like, if I tell Jordan to jump, he's not going to tell me how high. If I go tell David to go suck a cactus, I'm not going to get a picture of him sucking a cactus. You know, like, the point is that the fact with these people is that they only care for himself. I've told Jordan this candidly, and I don't shy away from this. I said, if the day came, if the BHC told Kevin it's either us or Jordan, I guarantee you, he would have he wouldn't even hesitate. He would have picked the BHC because here's the difference between them and Jordan. They all have the same mindset, whether it be regarding drama or people they hate. Actually, I refrain from saying that. The important people in the BHC have the same mind frame and same mindset regarding whether it's beliefs or things they hate and all that other stuff. And one thing, and I'll leave it at this before we make our final things. I apologize for us being long, Jordan. I appreciate you for being here till the end. But
Yeah,
one last thing
mean,
I'll say.
When I go to sleep,
I
my mom will
am.
understand.
Yeah, I am not a religious person. I am not a religious person. So, I'm not going to come in here and speak the gospel. But and I don't think bio is either. But it's very funny for someone like Kevin, who is a Christian or whatnot, to be saying, and again, I've said some vile stuff, but I don't, at the time, there could always be another thing later on. I could, yeah. But anyway, I could but I'll pay for my sins later whenever that day comes. But no joking, David, please, we're being serious. Anyway, thank you. My point is though, fuck you, made me lose my train, motherfucker. Anyway, going back, fuck, what was I saying, Jordan? What was I saying beforehand before David interrupted me?
You were talking about like your closing thoughts.
Oh yes. Oh, about the religion. Okay, so
Yeah.
it is very hypocritical for you, Kevin, as a Christian, to say all the hateful things you have said, regardless of any reasoning behind it or excuses you make. It is very hypocritical. When I said the other day about being in hell, I said it for the sole reason that what you do is very much against your religion. That is something God would not allow, and it pisses me off that people like you may not use God as a crux like some people do. And I'm not saying that about you, Jordan, or anything. I'm just using this as an example.
Right.
Like, I may not be a follower of the Lord, but I do fucking what's the word I'm looking for? I do like to call out the hypocrisy in religion in some cases with certain people. So it's very hypocritical for you, Kevin, to say all these vile things being a Christian. And to me, again, my point is that, so when I said that about the going to hell, I wasn't saying that just to be vile. It's because stuff you say is not Christian like. Has Jordan said things too that are unchristian like? Yes, but he has atoned for those mistakes. Has other people who are very Christian like may have said some horrible things? Yes, but they have atoned for their rights or their mistakes. The point is I'm trying to make here is that, to me, and this and you could, and again, this is coming from a non-believer, at least in the grand scheme of things, but don't you dare call yourself a Christian when you fucking say all the hateful shit you say. Because I guarantee you, and this is not me fucking wishing this on you, this is just me, again, going by the logic of religion. If you keep going down this road, the pearly gates are not going to be where you go. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, so after that, like, Jordan, David, if you have final closing remarks before we end this.
All I can say is that, I am done. When it comes to the anything like that, I just know that I only wish, Kevin the best. But as far as everything else goes, I'm done. That's all there is to be said. I'm just going to continue living my life, trying to make good content, and even if I have to work my ass off, just to, put in the hard work. And even though some people may not agree with what I do from time to time, at the end of the day, I just want to, like be at peace. I don't want war. I'm done with war. That's it.
And as for me, even though I'm not, when I've been, also on YouTube, making videos, for like almost a half a year or whatever, because I've been trying to focus on my life as well. With I'm transitioning to real adulthood, and hopefully I can find a job by the end of the year. That's what we're mostly focusing on for the rest of the year. So my hands are clean because going forward, I'm still going to be there for my friends, even if I'm trying to focus on my personal life. And hopefully I can still continue to grace shows from time to time when I have the time to make people entertained, during these rough times in their life. Because I'm going to tell you this to everybody out there: life is not going to get easy. It's going to get harder. That's
Amen. Amen to that.
And like, I'm gonna say this for the final record before I end it. I know I said that before, but this is actually just the closing arguments.
Can I say this real quick before we go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to make one strong request, and that is this: I do not want this being brought up in my channel, like on my live streams, my comment sections, or anything. I don't want, and in fact, I don't even want any post I make to be commented on regarding all of this. Anything, it stays right here. If you feel like you want to ask a question, then go in the comment section. Other than that, if you feel like you haven't understood, most of the stuff, then just go on here in the comment section. Other than that, leave all the other shit be, regards to other live streams, YouTube posts, and other comments like that have nothing to do with this topic. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and I feel like if anybody would do that, disobey that request, they would get blocked or put in timeout for violating that request. Now, I will say this though regarding all this, is that this is going to be the final time that Kevin, Carlos, Zexio, or whoever get brought up on this channel. Kevin can go live. Kevin could make a post. Kevin or Bio could do the same. Zexio could do whatever. Don't fucking care. Like you can, like, did I try to copyright claim him to be a little petty just for shits and giggles? Yeah, I'm gonna be fully transparent and not fucking beat around the bush with that. My point is that this is the last time I'm ever going to bring up anything regarding my daughter again. If you don't like it, if you want to call me names and call me that, again, you go by going after Preds with all the proof. Again, do some more research before you decide to open your mouth next time, kid. Like, so, like, and don't be just taking a one-sided equation, because trust me, people did that once before and look what happened. So my point is regarding this is that this is going to be the only explanation, response, anything of that nature for this matter. And if people don't like it, they could chime away in the comment section. Other than that, tough shit. Like, I'm done. I have been done with this for 4 years. I made mistakes. I've atoned for those mistakes. And also, I'm going to say this directly to Zexio. If you think Kevin is a victim because of his disabilities, then if I'm going to be honest with you, man, then why, like, if people like Daniel, Leon, other people you've gone after in the past, they may have disabilities. So to me, they could be no better than fucking Kevin.
So
You
again,
have no idea what a person's going through outside
yeah,
of social media.
and again to Zexio again, my DMs are open. And Sloppy always knows my DMs are open. So, and again, but in terms of explaining anything, you can watch this video. If you just want to come up to me and say, "Hey, man, whatever, I should have just got all the information and before reacting or something like that," that's fine.
And of
But if you
course,
want an explanation
I've
or
got
an interview, what's up?
I've got no problems with Sloppy either. I just simply wanted to give out my thoughts,
Yeah,
like,
I have no issue with
and
Sloppy. I have
and
no
I'm
issue with
I'm open with my DMs too.
yeah, and I have no problem with Zexio. Did I leave a little few jabs there? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that because that's a receipt. Because again, never really brought up any of your girl or your family or all this other stuff. And just because I go after Kevin, so what? So George's going to talk about that too next because defending a friend. Like I'm just again trying to understand that. So again, still no issue with you, Zexio. I just wanted to again get my opinion across. And again, if you don't like that, well, tough shit. Again, if you want an explanation, here it is, and that's all you're getting. No video interview, none of that stuff. I ain't dumb like these other people fall into a trap and go into a stream and constantly get made fun of. Again, you're trying to get people to express why they are this or that, but yet you make these. I even gave you credit on the song you did regarding Junko. I thought it was funny. So my point is though, is that again, next time, and people may not say it or agree with this, but next time you want to open your mouth on somebody, make sure to have all the facts straight, kid, and then you can come up to me with that same fire. With that, we've said everything we needed to say, and again, this is the last time this is going to be brought up on this channel, on David's channel, and on well, it's not on David's channel right now, but you get what I mean, and all that. And again, if you try to stir the pot in the chat or in the comments section, even with videos that have nothing to do with this, you could say your piece here. But if you say it elsewhere, just try to stir the pot, you're going to get blocked. Because unlike y'all, we're going to move on. And that's something we should have done years ago. And so, because I've actually got an interesting video coming up. I'll get into it more on a later date, but it has nothing to do with this bullshit. It's actually something from experience I have. But with that, I thank you all for watching. I thank David, Jordan. I apologize, Jordan. I know it's supposed to go for an hour, and we almost hit the 3-hour mark. I apologize. I'm glad you were a trooper,
okay.
and you sat. That's always a problem with you and me. We are on here. We just go on, but we had to get all of our points across, check all of our corners and all that stuff.
I was hoping we would do a stream like this one day, but it didn't have to. I wish it didn't come to things like what's been going on as of late.
Yeah. One day we'll have something else. Now, outside of that, and I thank everybody for the chat. I apologize if I didn't highlight nor did read all your comments. Just know I appreciate everybody that was in here. And again, I will repeat this for the last time. The Sloppy, I apologize for bringing that stuff up on your stream. You didn't deserve that. And again, I did delete the videos regarding the stuff I did with Kevin, just as a token. Again, as you said.
I also want to apologize if I felt like I was too harsh, but still, I just had to get it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Sloppy,
Well, hell, I could say the same thing when I was referring to Zexio, like just in that regard. But but with that, guys, I bid you all adieu. And I'm not even gonna. Yeah. So with that, guys, no outro here. We're just gonna end it. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, ta-ta for now.
Mm-hmm.